designs and iconography. You are kind of rooting for them no matter what team they're in.
We can't be biased, so we gotta find the balance. But deep down inside, for whatever reason, you just love one team or a player. For me personally, I just love Young 11. He's one of my favorite offlaners. As I said the other day, the way he plays Dota just makes me happy. I like that style.
I think that sometimes when a team that plays as a unit, or like the OG sold the idea of friendship, right? I think Wings was a lot like that as well, where there were some players stood out more than others, but the team stood out, right? So that's a very special feeling, because at the end of the day, we're not an individual game. And when OG wins 2 TI back-to-back, they talk about the idea of friendship. They're always like, oh no, we're going to pull through because we trust in each other. That to me is the most beautiful storyline.
Just having that mental fortitude is very important, but also cracking the game and figuring out what works the best at the current TI. That's the Wings story, and I believe that's the OG story as well.
Well, we are going to be going to the stage in about 20 seconds' time. So if there are 2 players to watch in this particular matchup from either side, Lizard, give us a preview. Who should we be looking at?
Oof.
Got 5 seconds.
Topson and Toronto, Tokyo.
I love it. That's why we pay him the big bucks. Ladies and gentlemen, day 4 is underway. Ladies and gentlemen, they've done this so many times before that you don't even need me to introduce them, but I will. This is Team OG. They're looking to do the 3-peat and raise the Aegis for the 3rd time. And this is a team that doesn't need to be scared. They don't need to be nervous as they walk into those booths, because everyone here sees them as icons. They will always be a team that can surprise you with their off-meta picks, with their surprises, the way that they take on these lanes in a way that we've never seen it before. But Spirit, they're coming out, and they're going to be coming out strong in a moment. And Team Spirit are here, and they have shown an ability to stun their opponents into submission and also keep that pace varied in their run here at the main event of TI, even managing to take a map off IG earlier this week. We last saw them powering through Fnatic for their lower bracket survival, and they'll be out to pull off another shock victory today against OG. This team is absolutely fearless, and they're here to crush some dreams, no matter who their competition is. So our teams are getting into position, and again, both teams looking like they have no nerves. They're just focused on themselves and focused on what they need to do today. And I'd love to talk a bit about Spirit first, because when you look at this on paper, they're the underdogs going into this. And in some ways, there are some similarities between these 2 teams, Avo.
Yeah, I do feel like Team Spirit could be called like a very young, inexperienced OG to a degree, right? They do like the team fight. They do like the chaos. Actually very Eastern European in that sense, right? I think that where they differ mainly is the experience, and this leads to OG being a very diverse team, especially in their drafting and their strategies, and Team Spirit sticking more to their guns, which actually reminds you a bit of the OG that won the majors, if you look at their strategies then.
Well, let's take a look at some of OG's tournament averages, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're talking about here. They don't actually have necessarily as high an average as you might expect, but sometimes that seems to be to do with the fact that OG, they don't necessarily care about results that aren't TI. I don't know if you'd agree with that, Lizard?
Yeah, that's 100% true. They had a couple of really good major runs at the early stages of the team, but after that, all that mattered was TI. The previous DPC seasons, they would pretty much skip the complete early part and just speed run into the qualifier and go to the TI. And not a lot has changed here.
Yeah.
They were kind of forced to play in the seasons this time around, but it's the same storyline, getting their last player just before the TI, scraping through the qualifier, through the ties with
Yeah,
Dantra
I
and
think
getting here.
the story of OG through the DPC season, we can sum it up and say, you know, someone's late for their job, they apologize, sorry for being late, it won't happen again, and here they are. You know, here they are, they're ready to work.
I should clarify that those stats were actually from TI10, but it just reminded me of the fact that back in the day when OG went into TI7, having won like 4 majors, and then obviously bombed out a little bit early, and then maybe in TI8 when they didn't have that pressure on their shoulders, made that memorable upper bracket run. But I do wonder if they are going to get a little bit tripped up here by the play style of Team Spirit, because Team Spirit, they're not a team that's going to show any fear or respect to their opponents today.
They will not. There's something completely different about the new generation of Eastern European players. In the way that they're not necessarily listening to advices of the old school players. They don't care about what happened. The past, okay, we can respect you, but this is our time. We're going with our style. And if it's wrong or right, it doesn't matter. We'll keep it at it until the end.
They'll keep their own style and they will learn from their mistakes. This is what I like about the Eastern European teams. As we've seen in the interviews, Virtus Pro talked about it. Team Spirit, they have a bit more experience coming up in their position 5. Poshka and of course Silent and Old School, even Dota 1 player that brings a ton of experience and knowledge from the game. Like the most successful teams in Dota were always the ones that had a bit of a mix with the old school guard and the new talent.
I remember a long time ago when I was coaching some of the players, I remember telling them, there was preparing for a strong team, I was saying, oh, he's very scary on this hero. And then one player came in and was like, no, correct him. He says, no. Now you're coaching, you have to understand. You can't be a fan of these players. You can respect them, you can think that they're good on people, but you can't be a fan. You can't say that they're scary or too strong or anything like that. And I think both VP and Team Spirit emphasize that idea. They respect their opponents, but they're never scared of them.
And there's an insider on the side of OG. Excuse me, there is Misha. He's now coaching OG. Just 1 year ago, he was a part of Team Spirit. It's not the same Team Spirit. None of these players are the same, but he understands Eastern Europe inside out. He's one of the best coaches that there are in the Eastern Europe scene at the moment. And he probably has a word or two to say to Notil and the boys about how Spirit will be playing.
Can we actually talk about that coach change? Because that was announced quite shortly before TI that Sox,
yeah, he still does, like he's a secondary coach for OG still. We don't know what happened, but yeah.
Well, they did say that he was going to do more things with the org as a whole. So that was partially why they were relaying some responsibility.
Oh, because I remember reading that he's still like going to fulfill the obligations of the second coach, because his love for the game, still insane, but might need to do some other stuff. And I think it's also fine to bring in another like coach. Doesn't necessarily need to be like the head coach, but to have a different view of the game, to bring in some new, fresh ideas. Because Dota as a game, it changes constantly. Every 2-3 months, we see a patch, we see a big one dropping, and then you need to figure it out. Like you need to figure out how to adapt. You need someone who plays a lot, who decides to test things out, to see all these like possible combinations of the heroes, of the spells, new items, new neutral items coming out.
Well, as we're going to be going into the draft really soon, I'm just wondering how Spirit are going to cope with the way that OG likes to draft. Because I guess when you're looking at what they're picking, sometimes it's hard to know what is going to go where. I know that's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but,
it's
OG
true.
are the most flexible.
It's 100% true. You can't know in which way OG's draft will go. You can prepare for it, but if they hit you with the flare ball, just continue doing your own thing. Focus on what you are picking and make sure that your draft fills all the necessary things that it has to. What OG picks, that's on OG. Maybe they'll take a Tinker and just completely obliterate you on that mid lane, or maybe they'll pick a Hoodwink and be 2 levels behind.
Maybe it will be Dawnbreaker, and then their coach, before the game starts, will say, you'll see, Thompson's crazy about this hero, and that's it. Like, that's all he needs to say.
We're going to go right into the draft.
Versus Team Spirit. Game 1. पूरे already Mars and Trident event कर चुके हैं.
And
Mystery
as
Command
we
की
get
event किया,
started
तो उसके
with
इंतजार में.
the draft, you know, I asked for
Obviously,
Christmas. I was like,
सब
"Hi,
शुरू हो
can I
गया,
please
फिर
get a draft panel that's bigger?" And it's finally
Win
happened.
together, win
I'm
together,
hosting
slay
a
together, slay
four-person
together,
draft
slay
panel.
together.
Santa
Yeah, we
Claus
needed to bring
exists.
some extra
And what
smart,
does it say?
and
Fuck
that's why
together, fuck
Effie is
together,
here.
fuck
Yes.
together.
Now our
I think
MR,
5 some
all
whatever,
together,
6 some
the average
whatever.
is 2K. He did it. All right, Effie.
That's
So,
good.
since you're here, I'd like to hear
क्या
your
लगता है बेबी? क्या
ideas
सम
first.
होगा?
What
6
can we
sum,
be
10
expecting
sum,
here from
या gangbang?
OG or Team Spirit?
Magnus.
Magnus? Magnus, you think is... You talked about it yesterday, about being like a top pick. Can you elaborate on that again?
I would be really disappointed if I didn't see it. It's just that it feels so strong.
Yeah,
It feels like it
तो
doesn't
shape
even
बोलता,
need
fuck
RP
together,
anymore,
fuck
right?
together,
Just
fuck
horn
together.
toss
तो उसको
skewer
क्या
and you
बोलते
can
हैं?
win a
5
fight
sum
by
बोलते हैं
yourself
या
if you
gangbang
isolate the
बोलते हैं या
correct
6
target.
sum?
And obviously the bonus of allowing your cores to
लो,
farm
OG ने
faster
पहले उठा
and
लिया Tiny.
being flexible in how you want to play in your item build and your map movements. I just feel like this is a very high
Tiny
priority
वाले
here.
3 के
They
damage
could get
थे,
it right
you know?
now. If you
Avalanche
look at
and
OG, they
toss
banned
and
out the Tidehunter and
Echo
the
Saver
Mars.
से,
Do you
but
think
जिता नहीं
Collapse's
सकता
Mars
game.
is worthy of a first phase?
Yes. Especially because of what Purge was talking about, where they run the Mars IO, right? I want to ask you two,
Oh,
the
मतलब
experts on
chance ही
Team
नहीं
Spirit,
देना है. Magnus और
does
Winter
Collapse
Win
play,
दोनों
Magnus?
उठाओ.
Yeah, he plays
Winter Win
pretty
ulti
much
मारेगा,
any
Magnus
given
का
hero
charge
on that
मारेगा.
offlane. He's a Giga Chad. You don't ask
Winter
Giga
Curse
Chad
versus Arthur.
if he plays a certain hero. It's in his blood.
There
there you
you
go.
go.
Good call, Effie.
Yeah, with
Manju
the
वगैरह
opening
गया,
Magnus, as we already know, we've seen Effie explained why this hero feels so strong. I think someone said once Magnus gets his shard, it's like a guaranteed hook from Pudge. Like it's a better version of the hook.
Jenkins said that.
Jenkins said that. Okay,
course he did.
Of course it did.
आज तीन ही match है.
He also said Necrophos. So you know he's a man of many
Many
talents.
talents. Many,
But
many.
Wyvern also, what this hero does is split up the fight, and it's one of the better heroes against Magnus once he decides to go in with the RP. So this is like something maybe they did not want to pick straight away. Also, you have
Hotel या फिर save, दोनों में से कोई भी
Tiny
खेल
can
सकता
blow
है
you up.
इस hero
Tiny
को.
these days they build into Echo Saber if we're talking about the position 1 Tiny and then going into Silver Edge, so you're never gonna
Like
feel
Save भी
comfortable
खेलता है
as a
Nature Puppet,
Wyvern. But if
Hotel
Tiny
भी
uses a
खेलता है
combo
Nature
on
Puppet.
one of the heroes
दोनों
that can survive it,
बहुत अच्छा
then
खेलता है.
all he does is deal physical damage, and that's
But
where
game हुआ था
Wyvern
कल भाई,
kicks in.
Team
That's
Secret
exactly what
versus
happened last night,
ITI
right?
को like
In
क्या
the
नचाया
series,
Secret ने.
PSG LGD picked the Wyvern.
Secret
And
ऐसा
it
game
looked
play था कि
pretty
भाई
damn
पानी के इस
easy
पर
and simple
आना
for
मत.
them
ठीक
versus
मत
them.
जाना पानी के इस पर.
Yeah, I
Nadi
think with
border है.
Wyvern, she's felt like more of a situational pick these days, right?
ठीक है ये
Because
मैच
in the
अच्छा
past,
था
when you would just build the
किसका?
Holy Locket and heal over everything, and that was pretty
LGD
much
का
your
क्या match
gameplay. You
अच्छा था?
didn't need to
30
do
match
more.
था.
It felt absolutely
played
ridiculous.
well,
But now
but
it's
हारेंगे
become more of a
final
niche
में.
pick in that you
नहीं,
really do
LGD
need to
play
kill
well नहीं,
versus
VP ने
physical
गंदा
damage
खेला.
for it to be
It
valuable.
a TT
And they kind of
VP
made
ने
it
बहुत
so
गंदा
like
खेला.
कभी
LGD
भी
में
पसंद
कुछ
नहीं
उनका कुछ ऐसा
there's just
ड्राफ्ट में ऐसा
inherently
कुछ
more
नहीं था.
value in
वाओ
Wyvern,
क्या यार.
not only because
उधर
Prophet
साला
does
हम टीम
physical
सीक्रेट का
damage,
मैच देख
but
रहे हैं. हाँ
because
बोल रहे
she
हैं कि
can
भाई
actually defend the
पपिक
lanes
भाई
nobody's
खेल
pushing,
रहा
right?
है.
She can just sit and
LGD
spam
में कुछ नहीं, उसका
intervals.
लाइक नॉर्मली
Yeah,
गेम है.
Usually it was picked up versus the
तो कुछ
Prophet.
करना
Not
ही नहीं
only
है बीपी चुतिया
the
है.
Wyvern, you also have
चूतिया
the
है VP.
Magnus. Suddenly your Sprout
आज अगर
isn't
OG
as
जीत गया तो OG
valuable,
दोनों रशियन टीम
and
को घर
your
बेचेगा.
pushes aren't going to be as potent because of these two heroes that can defend easily.
I still like Prophet into
टीम
into
स्प्लिट भी
Wyvern
रशियन टीम
because
है और BB भी रशियन
whenever
टीम
I
है.
see
दोनों रशिया
Bane,
को
Oracle,
घर
Wyvern,
बेचेगा.
Nature's Prophet on the offlane is that hero that can punish it because you don't deal well with the summons. Early on, we're talking about Wyvern getting
Titan
the 2
band,
points
wow.
and Splinter Blast possibly. It's still not gonna be enough, and also. This is the hero that
चालू
builds
कर दे
into
बेगा
silence
Melted Titan
early on,
खेलना.
can easily TP back, so one way to control Wyvern. I don't
बहुत
think
ज़्यादा
Wyvern's
ये
going to
होगा
have a
pro.
good
Elder
time. We're
Titan
also
और
going to see like a
Wind
backline
Ranger.
jumper coming up from the possibly a mid lane or maybe even like something like a
Wind Ranger
Spectre
बहुत
to be able to
नरम वाला
deal and take out the Wyvern before the fight even starts.
On the lane, for sure. I agree completely. Like, those treants at the moment, they feel like even if you kill them, you get nothing. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, you prevent him from harassing you a little bit, but it's not even worth the mana that you're wasting on them.
The only other team that was doing a first phase Prophet was actually Fnatic on Jabs. They were doing it as a 4. You think this could actually be a support Prophet for vision control?
It's very possible. I remember a couple of years back talking to Notil about the hero, and it was extremely popular on position 5 back
Yes.
then. And he was saying, this hero can do anything. Like, not only am I 5, I constantly have farm because I'm just sending trees around and they're pushing out
Yeah,
waves.
you're basically farming the whole map, and the wards that you can place with position 5 treants are always going to be better than what any other position 5 can do. Seeing the Terrorblade ban, I think they might want to go for something like maybe Luna, even possibly. TA is banned out, so OG with Nature's Prophet and Tiny, they have a very fast lineup already, so they don't want to rely on any of the cooldowns. So you want to be fight ready pretty much all the time. This is how OG historically has been playing the game. We're gonna run at you. We're gonna create a chaos, put you out of your comfort zone. And with these two picks, I just see it happening once again.
I agree that OG are definitely going to go for a tempo lineup here because if you look at the first two that Spirit drafted, these are team fight heroes, right? And they don't have that in OG. So they just need to win the lanes and just keep running them over because it's going to take time for Magnus to come into play as a hero. Empower is something that over time you feel it's
इंडियन में watch क्यों
worth
नहीं हो
in the
रहा है?
game. But initially it does, you do have to sit and farm on your core for a
क्या
while.
मतलब क्या नहीं हो रहा है?
And just
The
remember,
game server
this
hosting
same
this game
Magnus
was
that we are
not
seeing
found.
in the first phase
Yeah,
has been
so-
flexed for
जाओ
the
लड़की
majority
करो।
of the seasons and also at this TI has been
Why
played
are
as
you so
position 1,
jealous?
has been on the offlane, so there is flexibility coming into with the mag too. Maybe some mag safe lane versus Nature's Prophet is if he's playing that offlane role or position 4 wouldn't even be that bad.
But I did want to add to Mira's point though, and I hope that you can help elaborate on this, Lizard, which is that this is
हम तू
the
बताना
point that
चाहता
she was
है कि
making
हम
was
jealous
Team
क्यों
Spirit's
हैं?
playstyle through and through. The waiting to the mid game, getting that big item timing, getting farm on Yatoro, right? So maybe they're just forcing that again. I mean, that's what they've been doing this whole TI.
Yeah, I would really be unsurprised if that happened. Especially with the Magnus as
Right,
well.
कौन बोल रहा है?
It's very similar to
तेरा
the
मुंह तो
timing.
दिखाना?
The item timings
तेरा
for him
मुंह तो
come
दिखाना बेगा?
naturally. You don't truly need to wait for a lot. You're just waiting for that RP to come off
बोल रहा हूँ
cooldown.
ना,
You kill
मुंह
the support
दिखाना
and you
जरा?
continue farming with Empower. You constantly have that Echo
ये
Saber
दौड़ा
or
किया
Silver Edge to
तो।
work with. Later on Bloodthorn. It's the heroes
बेगम
that
का
have
एक ही सच्चा
linear
प्यार
item
है, हाँ।
progression and linear power
उसी के
spikes
पीछे
are
पड़ा है।
seemingly
तरह
the
नहीं
most
और
है।
वो
Fancy words,
दोस्त का बीवी
Dude, I studied math. This is
I
the
know,
first time I
I'm
used
like,
it.
I
A
didn't study
girlfriend?
math. What the hell is he talking
Yeah,
about?
what is linear, Lizard? I don't
It's
know.
like a line, you know, it kind of
तूने-
दो
goes.
साल पहले ब्रेकअप भी हो गया ब्रेकअप करने आई थी
I'm
घर
a
पे
bit disappointed.
No
you know,
spikes here.
You know, seeing Kanka banned out
ये हमने
against
मजा लूटा ना?
Team Spirit always
तो-
gets me mad because this
बस
is
तुम
Toronto
सब
Tokyo's, I'd
करके
say, one of
मेरे
the
का
better
कौन
heroes.
मजा
हाँ,
दिया
I
है
can't
मजा
use my
दिया है
jokes. I call him Torrento Tokyo, or whenever he goes for the rune, Toronto Tokyo. So
Good stuff.
I think he has the best name in the whole Dota scene.
I agree.
It's a
तो-
nice
तो
one. It
बता
rolls
अपने
off the
दोस्त को।
tongue, I suppose.
I know you want to talk about heroes, Effie, so
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
We just saw the
it's-
Dota Clockwork as a lane.
There's a lot to say here.
So
Okay,
चाहता
so
है
we
मेरे
were
को लगता
talking
है
about
कि ये
tempo,
लोग
and while
एस्टर
Darkseer
का
is a slower
स्ट्रेटेजी खेलने
hero,
वाले
if
हो
you pair him up
क्योंकि
with something like a
टीम
clock, it
स्पिरिट
suddenly
का
becomes
लाइनअप
something just
फुल
has, gives an ion shell,
स्टनर
and he enables
नहीं
the
नहीं
support so strongly.
फाइव मैन डोटा
And
है
if you look at Team
इसलिए
Spirit's
उन्होंने
line,
एम्बर
what do they
उठाया
have? They have
वो
Wyvern
रैट
and
को
Lion. Both of these
ये
heroes are
करना चाहते
extremely
हैं
susceptible
क्या
to
बोलते हैं
dying to
रैट
something
को
like a clockwork.
काटना चाहते हैं
Although
क्योंकि
Wyvern can
डार्क सीरर भी
fly
लेन
out
पुश
of
कर सकता है
cogs,
नेचर भी
you can
लेन
always
पुश
kind of
करेगा
just push back and
दोनों
right click
separate
her a
है
couple of
उससे
times. You don't have to. She's pretty squishy. Do you
I
know
was
what I mean?
listening
Heavy
to
pushing
LOA
lineup
yesterday.
so that
I
Tiny can
believe
farm
it was
peacefully.
Darkseer plus
Okay.
something else paired
तो
up, and
मेरे को
he said
थोड़ा
the
कंफ्यूजन है
best combo
नेचर
with the
पोजीशन
Darkseer
3 है
is the
सेफ खेले
Clockwork.
नहीं नेचर
Like, I
पोजीशन
believe
5
it
है
was
नोटेल खेलेगा
Darkseer plus Earth
सेफ
Spirit, and
खेलेगा
then he
डार्क
said
सीरर टाइनी
Clockwork, yeah,
खेलेगा
you get
सुमेर या
that
फिर
level 6
टॉप्सन
early on, you put out so much pressure on the
टॉप्सन का
map,
हीरो बाकी
you
है
get that
मेरे को लगता है कि
long
डार्कसीयर
initiation
ये
coming out from the
खेलेगा
Clockwork, and the
मतलब
damage
वो तो
पोजीशन
सेफ
4 भी
खेलेगा
खेल सकता है
Iron
सासा
Shell
भी
plus
खेल
Clockwork.
सकता है but
Once you get
नहीं
that
पर मुझे
Agnes,
नहीं
the
नहीं
Darkseer
Clock
as
है ना
well is
पोजीशन 4 के
extremely
लिए
रहा
difficult
है
because you have the
पोजीशन 4
cogs, the
क्लॉक
ball, there's just a
डार्कसीयर
lot of
पोजीशन
conversion
3
between
नेचर्स
them.
प्रोफेक्ट
I would
पोजीशन
not
5
like to
टाइनी
be a lion
पोजीशन
in a game
सेफ
such as
लेन
this one.
अब
One
उन पे मिड
interaction
बाकी है
that isn't
ये डॉन
praised
ब्रेकर
enough, I
उन्होंने
would
बैन
say,
कर
as
दिया
well. Clockwork and Magnus,
पता
like,
था वो
you
उठा
can
सकते
really
थे
mess up the way he wants
लाइक
to be
ऐसा
playing
है
the
कि
game.
टाइनी
Once the
इन्होंने
RPs
तीनों
used
लेन
to
में खेल
push up
सकता है
afterwards,
लाइक टाइनी
break up
लाइक
the
सबसे
fight with
वर्सेटाइल
cogs. It
हीरोज
can be
है
fairly annoying
कोई
to
भी
hit
लेन में
as a
जाके खेल
melee
सकता
hero
है
versus that.
like, तुम उसको पोजीशन 4
Clockwork
दे
can have a
सकते हो
very
पोजीशन
disruptive game.
1
I
2
wanted to
3
comment a
कुछ भी
little
दे दो
bit just on the Ember
पोजीशन
Spirit
5 टाइनी
pick.
दे ही देखा मैंने
While it does
हेलो
look like
शाउट
Ember
आउट
should
भाई
have a fine
पीयूष
time early on, depending on Nature's Prophet, where he's going to be played and when he's going to get his
Shout
orb
out
बैन
timing,
किसको
he
बैन
can
करेंगे
die.
मैं
Ember
टीए
Spirit
बोलने
can
वाला
die
था बट
quite
टीए बैन हो
easily
गया
in
ये
this
ऑलरेडी
game
बैन
if
हो
और
रहा है
OG get the timings that they want. So we're going to have to see this
मेरे
Ember
को लगता है
play a really
Spirit.
good game.
And they prepared
नहीं
the Ember game
स्पिरिट
with the bans, right? Banning out the Morpher,
थोड़ा
banning
टॉप्सन है
out
तो ये कुछ अलग
Dawnbreaker.
भी कर सकता है
Dawnbreaker was
Thompson का
extremely
brand हो
strong
चुका है,
versus
बहुत
any
सारे।
spirit.
Yeah, I think top 2 heroes right now on the mid
Invoker.
lane that just completely dominate the lane are Kunkka. You can say
शायद से आर
Necro, the
forward
melee
ना
spirits we're talking about, and the Dawnbreaker does
शायद से।
surprisingly
अगर
well.
इन्वोकर बैंड नहीं किया तो इन्वोकर
And-
उठा लेगा वो जी
to add more to the Ember, so
And
Ember,
Mughal
when he
band
plays
नहीं
with
हुआ अभी तक
Madness,
game में.
becomes a different kind of hero, right? He becomes so much stronger. So
नौकर बैन
on
कर
the
दिया
other
था
hand,
बैन
to
किया
give more
इन्वोकारी
fairness to this hero is that if
मतलब
he
फाइव मैन
doesn't
कॉम्बो को तोड़ने वाला
lose
कौन
the
है
lane
मतलब
and does
ऐसा
quite well,
ऐसा
he
कोई
can actually
चाहिए
feed
हीरो
off of a couple of
जो
these
मतलब
heroes'
तुम्हारे
abilities, especially if he rotates
silencer.
from the side. Because look at the
Right.
heroes
बट
he's going to rotate with, right? He's
नहीं
got a
मत
lion and a
मेरे
wyvern
को
that he can play
क्या
with later on
रिक्वायरमेंट है कि
with
फाइव
all
मैन
lane rotations.
फाइव
And
मैन
that's
भी
something
करे
that Toronto
सॉरी कॉम्बो
Tokyo
भी
does
तोड़े
very
और
well.
रैड
like
भी करे
Dota
ऐसा
a
कोई
lot.
हीरो चाहिए
If you have December Spirit with a good
Let's
laning
check.
stage, he will dominate afterwards with
जैसे
your
लगी भी
power.
अच्छा है
But
बट
even if he
रैड
doesn't
नहीं कर
have a
पाता
good laning stage, you can constantly hunt the
वाइट
next
स्पिरिट
buff.
है
And we've seen a lot of
अरे
Embers
स्पीड से
at this
फाइट करने
tournament
स्पीड ही
struggle
आता
a
है
little bit, but then it
स्पीड
doesn't truly
टीआई
matter.
का
स्पिरिट
नाम
As
मेटा है
long as you hit
स्पिरिट
that
मेटा है
6, you
मिड
get one
स्पिरिट
good
मिड
rune
मेटा है
suddenly
कुछ
your
नहीं कर सकता
लाइक
whole
टीआई का
late
नाम
game
चेंज
opens
करके
up.
स्पीड रख दो
Now we see the last pick from OG.
मुझे
It's
लगता
going
है
to be
मुझे
the
लगता है
voice
कि
pick,
टाइनी
so
को डील
nothing
करने के लिए लाइफ
too
स्टीलर ऐसा कुछ तो
crazy.
ही
You're not
लेना
going to see
मांगता
no
है
Tails NP though, that we
या
talked
फिर
लाइफ
about.
स्टीलर तो बैन हो
Nothing too
चुका है ओजी
crazy,
ने
but
बैन करके रखा है लाइफ
Aghanim's
स्टीलर
on
और
Dark Series
मैं
is
स्वयं
so
स्वयं
high
भी
value in this
स्वयं
game.
भी आ
Putting Gaia
सकता है
Shaw on
मेरे हिसाब
Clockwork,
आई थिंक
Void
ये
Spirit,
स्विन से
it
बेटर
just
वो
feels
होगा
good.
लूना
Okay.
या फिर मेडुसा
What do you
बस
think
स्लार्क
of
भी
this?
हो सकता
Now
है
that we
सर
see the
वो
whole
सकता है
draft, right?
Slap.
Seems like a
क्योंकि
pretty honestly
तुम
pretty
चाहते
solid
हो
draft.
कि
Yeah,
टाइनी
just
से मैन फाइट करे
classic
ऐसा कुछ
OG
तुमको हीरो
draft, 'cause
चाहिए
you
राइट
बट
और
टाइनी
वाइट
स्लार्क
स्पिरिट
का
को भी
some
स्टन
पकड़
कर
amount of
सकते
सकता है
damage.
उसके अंदर
Next Prophet
हाँ
provides it with that.
वो
That's going to be
उसके
a
जो डार्क
tiny,
उसके अंदर है टाइनी स्टन
a
कर
bit more
सकता है
global
स्लार्क को
presence as well. Clockwork with the hook shot, Darkseer surging
डार्क
people
पोशनलिटी
in. Next
स्लार्क
Prophet
क्वालिटी
with the TP. So long
स्लार्क
range
टाइनी को नहीं मार
initiation
पाएगा
from OG. The backlines from
नहीं
Team
वो
Spirit will
फाइट
need to be
स्टैक्स
really
लेते रहेगा
careful.
ना
Now they're looking for
तो
something
फाइट कर
that they
सकता है
can
जैसे
pair up Magnus with,
इनिशियल
something
बर्स्ट
that
को
is
सरवाइव
insane
किया
good.
ना फिर टाइनी कुछ
They
नहीं कर
need
रहा
basically a BKB
मतलब तुम वो बोल रहे
type of a
हो
carry,
टॉस
maybe
एंड
the one that builds it early
एवरेंस
on, because you will have
टर्न
end
टॉस
power
दो
coming up
फटके
from the mag.
Yeah,
सिल्वर
they
एज टू
ran
टॉस
that for
टर्न
a
टॉस
lot
दो
of time.
फटके क्यों सिल्वर एज तो बनाने वाला
Also,
है
just
तुम
having
ऐसे
this
हीरो नहीं
Darkseer
लोगे जो
kind
सिल्वर एज से
of
उनको
picks a lot of
मतलब
Vitora's hero pool,
और
right?
मार खाए लाइक पीए
He
नहीं
loves to
लोगे
play as illusion carries, and
Oh,
Darkseer
best
Wide.
loves
wide.
to play versus illusion carries, so...
He still has
मुझे
the
नहीं लगता उनका टीम
Sven,
स्पिरिट
I
का
believe?
फेसलेस वर्ड सही है
Sven is
टू बी
still in the
ऑनेस्ट
pool,
बट
that's correct.
उन्होंने
Also
ज्यादा ही
special here that he
लॉन्ग
was
कूल
flying.
But
But
किल
there's
ले
just
लिया
so
एक
much
बहुत
control
लंबा
for
स्किल
you.
एक फाइट
Darkseer,
अगर डॉज कर
Clockwork,
लिया
Aegis
ओजी ने सेकंड में वो
Prophet.
घुस जाएंगे पूरा
ए क्रोनो ने
Big
क्या
of a void.
कर रहा है मैं
Okay, we
क्रोनो में
haven't
क्या
seen
करूं
नहीं
this man
मतलब
in a
मान
really
लो
long
कि लाइक
time. There's
आरपी निकालने
there's
में
a lot
मदद
of
कर दिया लाइक
damage in the
सास का जाके मर
Darkseer,
गया
so
आरपी
he
से
has used some more cash.
यू नो
For sure, but I just want to
या
comment
फिर
that
नोटेल जाके
Void
आरपी
and
से मर
Atlas
गया एंड वॉइड का
actually
क्रोनो
feels
आ
quite
चुका है
nice, because
लाइक
Void
इनके
can
पास
function as a
बैकअप में कुछ
pseudo
नहीं
anti-hero,
बचेगा
just
लाइक
time-walking
ओजी
between
बोलेगा
camp and
चलो
camp, so he actually
घुसते हैं
takes
अभी
advantage of this empower faster than a lot of other carries. But if you look at
मैं क्या
Spirit's
बोल
team
रहा हूँ
fight, it is
कि
overwhelming, right? So the
क्रोनो
question
में
as usual.
can they
मैं
play
क्या
the
डैमेज
macro
कैसे
game
दे
and
सकता
stall
हूँ
long enough
मेरा
for them
कोई
to be
मेरा
able to
मतलब
just
वो है
fight comfortably without
मतलब मैं
getting
अगर
run over
क्रोनो
by
किया
OG's
फॉर
slow
एग्जांपल
The
potential?
way
तो
OG plays
एट द
is
मैक्स
where they
एम्बर
let
का मैं
you,
स्लाइट ऑफ
and
फिस्ट
there are a
मारूंगा
lot of
हाँ
राइट
long
मैं तो
cooldowns.
लाइन
स्पिरिट
का
से तो
फिंगर
स्पिरिट से तो अंदर नहीं जा
When
पाऊंगा
those
राइट
यस
abilities
लाइन
are
का
not
फिंगर
ready,
और कुछ
OG
नहीं है तुम्हारे
will
पास
go
डैमेज
for the
देने के
plays,
लिए
because all they need is hook shot pretty much to start the
बेसिकली मुझे
fight,
लगता है
and
कि वो लोग
that will
रैट
be available. Sucks
इसको
on the
लॉक करने
Clockwork
के
has
लिए
been impressive
यूज किया
throughout
जाएगा वाइट
both
स्पिरिट
seasons, and I'm
और
really looking forward
ये
to it.
रैट के
Team
लिए
Spirit is
उसके
the
लिए
king of
सेटअप
team fights and waiting
सेटअप के
for
लिए
the
शायद से
moment,
वाइट
right?
स्पिरिट
They
यूज
are,
किए
but
रहेंगे
I
उन्होंने
feel
ऐसा
that
कुछ तो
Toronto Tokyo has such a
मतलब
high
बट
burden.
मेरे
क्रोनो
को
का
पसंद नहीं
सेटअप
आया
का
मेरे को
क्रोनो
फेसलेस
का
वाइट पसंद नहीं आया
मेरे को भी पसंद नहीं है क्रोनो का वो लाइक जो क्रोनो है
they get
उसमें
their items,
सेटअप
before
करके किसी को किल नहीं
everyone
निकाल
has
सकते
his
हो
cooldown
लाइक
off,
तुम्हारे
right? Like the
आउटसाइड से कोई
Chronosphere,
डैमेज
like
नहीं
Mira
है
mentioned, the RP, those are high cooldown spells. So Toronto Tokyo will be the one that constantly needs to be active, and you're playing into some heroes that can completely match your pace. Not one, but four of them. Even the tiny, I would say.
And typically the question is, if you want to play the macro game and hold out, it's can you play a side lane Dota? Can you push out these lanes without getting caught out? And we've seen Team Spirit excel when Toronto Tokyo is playing something elusive like a puck. He keeps these lanes out and draws heroes to him. But he's an Ember this time, and he's in a bit more danger. And who else can play this side lane game with him? It's pretty much only safely the Wyvern, right?
Right.
So it's going to be scary for them. But if they hold pulled out, they have overwhelming team fight.
So I see overall my panel is a bit OG favored here in this draft.
A tiny little bit. I see Notil playing the 5 Prophet, and I think it's good, but it's playing into a Collapse Magnus. Might be rough.
Okay, we're gonna see if they're right. And to narrate this game, we're gonna have the wonderful Trent and the magnificent Lyrical.
Thank you so much. Of course, the panel very much in favor of OG. But Trent, I gotta say, I've been enthralled with this Team Spirit team. It feels like in so many ways there's a Cinderella story going on right now, trying to take down the two-time TI champions with this young team. Can they make it happen, though? It's going to be a tough test for them.
Tough test for anyone in the lower bracket.
Yeah.
That's what OG is indeed, but we're back to early eliminations here in the morning at TI. So, got to get those morning jitters out. You know, a lot of players say that they don't like to play right when they wake up, right? So, who has prepared? Who got up nice and early? Who squeezed in a pub before this one? That's the question.
That's a good question for sure. And it's something to watch for. If there's any of those early game jitters that we've seen on occasion, as does look like all of Team Spirit get together to kill off a Treant. Most likely we'll see several more of those. But again, we're getting into darks here. We saw one of these last night. Went really, unfortunately, poorly, mainly because of that Oracle pick. But you saw Team Spirit do a pretty, or rather OG do a pretty nice play. They waited until they had the Lion and the Winter Wyvern picked, and now they're able to get away with this one. And obviously, throughout a long period of time, Seb's Darkseers looked really solid.
Yeah, for sure. And paired up here with the Clockwork. Unfortunately, though, Soxa did just get spotted placing that ward up on the pillar as they had a defensive ob sort of near their own outpost up there. So that one's going to be gone pretty fast from Toronto Tokyo. Instant D ward.
And as they're going to battle it out for the runes, can they get there a little bit quicker with the fingers? Doesn't quite look like it. Soxa able to take that one, and that's going to be a trade-off of 2 runes apiece, as OG will come and try and contest that Wyvern Faceless Void lane, the Clock Darkseer.
Well, look, it's Spirits in the mid lane again.
It happens all the time.
We're there at TI, you know, the Spirits all year throughout the DPC. I feel like it's just grown and grown and grown in terms of this, like, the mid lane sort of being dominated by the Spirits, and some will get buffed and some will get nerfed, but in the end, we all came back to these heroes simply because the ability to move around the map that they provide, of course, and that idea of, like, initiation and just, like, setting the pace for your lineup, that used to come out of the offlane quite a bit as well, but I feel like some of those heroes have sort of slowed down a bit. I feel like that pool has kind of shrunken. But this time, I mean, mid laner, especially for OG, very much enabled by the offlane with the early Ion Shell for the aggression, sort of going after the hero kills, whereas on Team Spirit, you're going to have this in power, which can be a little bit more like sort of the farming up and late game strength.
Right, and obviously can still be very active early, depending upon how they find some angles, but they're going to need to wait, play around Collapse most likely with that Magnus Blink Dagger that he'll eventually get online. And as you can see, the CS still pretty even across all of the different ways there. Mag 2-0 right now is the only one that's a little bit further behind, but that's sort of what you can expect when you're playing against a tiny Nature's Prophet. Super frustrating to play against. Taunt there, Aether Remnant used, but nothing really afterwards. So yeah, just the normal stuff that we would expect to see. Seb also grabbing that Ion Shell onto the creeps and pushing underneath the tower, actually, keeping that hurt onto Itoro and Boschka.
Yeah, if you were here last night, you may have witnessed a Darkseer game for the first time, really, in this TI, because we haven't had very many. And so to see one on the main stage was nice last night, but he got counterpicked really hard by the Oracle. Instead, in this game, we have a different situation where Seb knew what his lane was going to be, at least in terms of the support, and that's looking pretty good for him, because a lot of the carry players don't necessarily have, like, the best answers unless you go, like, Anti-Mage or some, like, crazy hard counter. So Seb should have a pretty good time up here, and so far getting up into that second point in Ion Shell will be the real key. For now, Sox is just aiding in that endeavor by bullying back the 2 heroes from Team Spirit.
As they will get the push down there, no tail, taking a little bit of a beating from Collapse. Mira just there to provide a little bit of support. They are going to try, most likely, eventually, to get a side pull going, as that one is open, but No Tail's been doing a good job of consistently body blocking it, as he's forcing back Collapse, but a little bit of chase down. They have Skewer, as well as the Shockwave tries to bring him down low, and No Tail barely walking away from that one. Instead, it's Mira that gets the first blood with the right click and also going to get Collapse out of there.
Yes, man, I was trying to wait on that for the perfect play with the Avalanche, but not able to get the turn. So No Tail goes down. Of course, no items other than regen at that point. Used up his last tango too, so just sitting with a salve and then buys more tangos. So pretty poor Nature's Prophet, but top lane, another 5 going to go down here. Soxa might even run to the tier 2 after grabbing that kill, you'd imagine, because you might as well go home at this point, and yeah, he's just gonna head into the abyss.
Oh my god, Soxa does end up going down. You can see, like you said, giving up his life there to the tier 2 tower. So nothing really to write home about with that one, but so far so good for Seb in this top lane. Already level 4, hanging on to that extra point if he wants to go for a vacuum play or something else.
Yeah, and you have an issue as a Faceless Void where you really hate damage over time, too. You have some mobility, so like you can definitely play around the Ion Shell in a lot of ways. Like you shouldn't be cornered necessarily, but still not an amazing matchup for the hero.
True. enough.
And they don't really have a great way to punish this when Seb can just come in, disrupt your pulls, and then surge away. But Miposhka going to be heavy on the chase. Does still have the brown boots here, too.
Toronto Tokyo barely able to get away from that one now. And it does look like they're going to be able to get him out of trouble as those rotations were coming in. Making a lot of moves early on here. And right now, the only one that is a little bit further behind is going to be Collapse on that mag.
Going to be looking to boost up his allies this game with the Empower, as the panel was discussing there too. Basically gives you a free Battle Fury, essentially this idea of cleave, so you can farm over the neutrals and the lanes faster. Get your hero online a little bit quicker and eventually scale even better into that late game. Can also perhaps change up your builds on the Faceless Void if you want to capitalize on that damage a little bit more. Currently thinking about just the Mask of Madness, pretty classic item on the hero.
Yeah. They will clear through a lot of those treants, actually. So that's a nice little boost there for Collapse. As treads are done and up top, looking to get a little bit active here. The Ion Shell and the surge forward. Toro has to jump away again. 5-second cooldown. The slow and steady beatdown that he's getting from this. They will be able to force him back with a couple of lucky bashes in there. On the other side, you can see No Tail does go down to Collapse. So just all-out aggression. This is what we were expecting from this match today.
Yeah, he still has nothing but regen on this Nature's Prophet. So really taking one for the team here.
Yeah.
And is it working out for Sumail? Pretty well, right? He's a little bit ahead of the Faceless Void, so Tiny kind of happy, but it's that mid lane here that you see going pretty significantly better for Thompson, right? 300 gold up against his opponent here. And, I mean, the last hits are the same, but the value's certainly not.
True enough.
We'll have that Yules on the earlier end, too. And once that's up on the Void Spirit, you can see him rotating around the map. He's going to be comboed up with the Ion Shell from this Darkseer. You're going to have the hook shot on the earlier end from Soxa, and then you're going to have global teleportation from No Tail.
Sounds like a lot of aggression.
That's a lot of aggression. That's a lot of initiation. That's a very dangerous situation for any hero to be in. However, there will be mobility tools, right? You're going to have your skewers on Collapse. You're going to have Time Walk. You're going to have remnants from the Ember. So the supports maybe won't be so lucky, but OG, you're going to have to layer those initiations carefully just to make sure they don't make too many mistakes with these escape spells.
And you can see every time they make that move, it's like 1 or 2 CS that Toro has to sort of jump away from and misses out on. This is what you're hoping to do with this Darkseer, like get that pressure on.
They're not counting on kills here. You know, these aren't missed attempts at going for the blood. It's just trying to annoy and ruin the game of this Faceless Void.
Well, and in the meantime, Thompson, they will use a quick little glyph there, just messing with his last hitting potential, as Toronto Tokyo actually want to get aggro. Jumps forward with that DD. It's going to force Thompson back. Not bad at all for Team Spirit, who again are keeping it even through this early laning stage.
Yeah, one of the benefits of the Winter Wyvern too versus the Nature's Prophet, as well as that Darkseer, is that you're going to have this ability to try and like hold the towers a little bit longer when they just sort of have this never-ending split push from Ion Shells and trees just running down lanes. So some benefits from a Poshka. And of course, if they want to shove those lanes in a little bit deep, Mira would also be very happy to pick up some of that earlier farm on the line to try and get to that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, that would be great for them. I think that like sort of solid initiation, obviously Toronto Tokyo is really good at it with the Ember, but can be that extra value that's added in.
I do, for Mirror's sake, hope that he finds that farm on the earlier end though, because I feel like it's going to get into a very difficult spot. But all that aggression in the mid lane does pay off massively for them, getting that tower for Toronto Tokyo. Thompson trying to get the punish here, not going to be able to get a kill, and Toronto Tokyo, of course, with a very healthy tower. Well, should be very pleased at the start of this game.
Sort of keeping our thoughts on that net worth and where it's going to go eventually. You can see, ooh, a little bit of a dodge back there. Thompson gets a haster, but you can see Tiny's still sitting at top. Toronto Tokyo's up there. There hasn't been a big extension as far as a lead one way or the other, but No Tail gets found out in the trees. The jump forward Hex into TP. Does Mira manage to make his way out? They do! So get the kill and then escape with the other support. Seb is trying to get aggro, but it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and they actually...
This is good though.
Oh yeah, that is true. Clean up some of these stacks. Of course, you know they're gonna have them. Even with the ward, Team Spirit can do nothing but watch as they lose on a bit of gold for their team. And Yadaro still being very frustrated by this clockwork, I'm sure, but still keeping pace with Sumail, so.
As No Tail comes on over, spots Toronto Tokyo taking some of these camps. Was hoping to find a ward, but nothing doing there. And another stack up actually onto the Ancients. So this is going to be pretty high value. Most likely, I mean, this is going to be probably a trade-off of maybe, you know, Sumail taking it with the Tiny, but likewise, you could give it to the Darkseer.
Yeah,
Take
no
it too
tell.
quick.
You can see, very surprised. He's just like, oh, really? No wards? You know, checks with the double sentry, and again, this Nature's Prophet. You know, he's upgraded. He has a chainmail, so getting pretty darn wealthy now. As he suits up, but you're always looking for those great wards when you're playing this Nature's Prophet, because you can just go anywhere on the map, TP back out, go for the really deep pillar wards perhaps, and that's going to be a huge factor for them, right? Because you're playing with this heavy initiation lineup, and initiation is always much, much easier when you have forward vision.
Not wrong about that one for sure. Mask of Madness done now, trying to get some aggro, thought about going for the chrono there, but falls off the charge, and can see that they're just going to leave him alone to continue to farm up top. So Faceless Void definitely looking to get a good start to this one. See if that continues on. But another stack over on the Ancients gotten by Team Spirit. And for them, obviously, with the Empower, this is an easy cleanup. But I feel like there's an opportunity here for maybe either one of the teams to try and go for a steal. Could make a difference. Right now, OG up about 1,000 gold.
And we're just trading towers. Does feel like a bit of a ticking time bomb, though, I have to say, for Team Spirit. I'm really curious to see how they're going to manage to hold through this impending assault from OG. They're going to have some cooldown issues, right? Oh, yeah, with the Chronosphere on the 160 on the earlier end, the RP always going to be that 130. And you look for cooldowns on OG, and, you know, hookshot's a minute. That's pretty much the biggest one that they really need. Like, wall's nice, sure, but it's definitely not needed in every single engagement this game. And I just feel like that is going to be a serious problem for Team Spirit.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Like memes aside, when I think of Darkseer nowadays, particularly out of these pro players, the two ones that come to mind are Seb and Mind Control. And often Seb has been playing in like the kind of carry Darkseer role. This is actually more the style that Mind Control would play, where you play sort of this supporty element, get the quick mech, max out Surge, just start running around with your team, and then enabling that other big bad carry. And we'll see how it works out for him this time around, as it's going to be a lot on Sumail to make those moves. And obviously, of course, Thompson playing on this Void Spirit, who had an absolutely fabulous game before. But Team Spirit, they're going to send themselves in here, clear out that Ancient stack. But OG, they want us to get the objective. They want to get this tower.
The pieces are coming together, and it's a little bit too fast right now. But Poshka's still looking for that level 6 to hope to come and help in the mid lane.
There, they come right back in. The wall is down onto both collapse. The mech up, living a little bit longer. Toronto Tokyo walks in, and look at the chrono. It's going to connect right onto both of them. Seb goes down. Skewer into the RP, only catches on the clock, but that's enough. And look at this, Team Spirit.
Beautiful.
Walk through, take them all down one by one, and find one more to boot.
This is so important for Team Spirit, because you're using the RP, you're using the chrono. You can't just get one kill, right? You need as many as you can get, because that's a heavy, heavy expenditure. But they were very victorious in that engagement. And now the question is, how are OG going to rally back from that? They're just going to run right back to that mid lane? It's a fairly likely scenario.
You can see here again, just that immediate move in, and they felt like they would be safe because they could go for that, you know, Soxa control immediately afterwards on the Ember, but Toro just getting involved in this fight early on, lacing down a really nice Chronosphere, catches onto a couple there, and then obviously collapse with the follow-up. And, you know, when you bring 4 heroes and all 5 to the fight,
they smoked up here. This was, they moved through a ward that Yadoro had. He might have a false sense of safety here.
Jump. Lift up, Yule Scepter, the Remnant down afterwards, tries to catch, can they get the kill? Hook shot afterwards, it's enough. They bring him down. And with that, Team Spirit gonna cancel the TPs. So like you mentioned, the low cooldowns on OG, they make use of it.
Yeah, just right back at it, and I don't expect that to be the end of it. You can see they're just moving through their area right now, just saying, go ahead, we know you don't have much left. All that remains really is the winner's curse. It was gained during that fight in the mid lane, but Pushka found the experience from the kills that Team Spirit gained. So really the last big spell they have left in the tank.
And that's 2 tier 1 towers taken for both teams now. Both mid and safe lane gone. And the question remains, how do you transition this now? So often I feel like we've seen teams kind of blunder,
perhaps? Blunder a flunder?
That's the one. You nailed it.
Yes, okay, good.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. But yeah, much like I was doing, they'll flub a little bit.
Yeah. When most of your English just comes from chat lines, it can be difficult, right?
It's a hard life we lead. But we get through it together, Trent.
We're doing our best to share language across the globe with all these new chat lines, you know? Exactly. You always got to look stuff up. You can learn a new phrase. That's why Dota is the best global game.
Too true. What a great message to send out there at the end. In the meantime, OG, they're going to try and keep pressuring in here and forcing Team Spirit out of their base. They are underneath a ward, which does keep a little bit of the extra knowledge up into the favor of Team Spirit, but maybe a bit of a move down bottom. Zoxa there with Seb. Thought about it. Decides not to go.
Well, they have those tools back up on the side of Team Spirit, right? Yeah. Chronos there, RP's there. OG, how will they decide to play around these? Are they going to try and force out some bad spells? Try and pressure a tower early? Are they just happy maybe holding a little bit higher percentage of the map than their opponents? For now, I think the vision game seems to be a pretty key factor now. You can see some of those deeper wards you'd expect starting to come out from OG, but likewise, great wards in that bottom lane that almost spotted the smoke that took down Yadoro.
And the wrap coming now. He's going to see if he can get on the board and find himself a kill, but no tail out and
those
away.
treants, dude, they're just going in through there. They kind of spot what's happening.
It's really good. Impressive stuff. And then the TP out afterwards. Team Spirit, now 2,000 gold down. Gonna have to try and deal with this as Mira is getting closer and closer to that Blink Dagger, and it feels like OG are comfortable with the state of the game, at least until they get those next item timings.
Yeah, that Shadow Blade out on the Tiny could open up some new exploration options, but there are Ob Sentry combos as well on the side of Team Spirit's map, so could go poorly for them. Sumail steps in the wrong spot.
They're coming over with these Treants to try and we'll see if they try and block out the Ancients after they get the kills here. Yeah, they walk in and immediately Toro goes for the kill on those Ancients afterwards. Thermaltake thought about going for the haste. Zoxa there all ready to interrupt. Again, economic damage where they can on OG. Thompson, I'm curious if he goes back for that same build that we saw the other game. It was super solid, just into the E-Blade after the Sanj and Kaya. Very, very quick blow-up potential that they had going.
I love the way Thompson has played throughout this TI in terms of just like relegating his own farm a little bit lower, even more so than before. It feels like they're really trying to offer a lot over to Seb and Sumail.
Yeah.
And he just wants those playmaking abilities. So just trying to get something that keeps him like active in the fights, going for this Sanj and Kaya. Not too worried about the next like massive item, just wants to be always there for the team. And right now, a big line drawn here from Mira. They want to go the whole way up top, perhaps hoping that someone's going to try and go for their Ember. Trying to bait his Remnant in here.
Oh, good job there. Gets on in with the Treant to block that camp again. Team Spirit having to deal with that. Thompson maybe in some trouble if they spot him. Oh, instead they're going to go for no-tail. Mira gets the Hex off, but caught by the Aether Remnant, and then afterwards they got the Winner's Curse. Stun comes out afterwards, the full control Finger of Death, and dead.
That was a long setup there from Team Spirit, just like waiting and waiting, trying to bait out Toronto Tokyo, and then sort of just kicks off because No-Tail got a little bit too close. But best thing right there is that you're taking down a core hero on OG without the big spells. Very good sign for Team Spirit. The later this thing goes, game should get a little bit easier for them. Those big spells becoming more and more valuable as we progress. The RP, the Chronosphere, right? Some items, of course, not going to help you versus those. Even when Sumail gets his big BKB out. But mind you, his HP, even, you know, Magic Immune or not, he is going to be a beast in this game. Not a lot of very tanky heroes in this match compared to Sumail.
Well, and it's so interesting, right? Like, we think back to the matchup that we saw right before this series with Spirit. It was against Fnatic, and we saw very similar things, right? Nature's Prophet, Jabs was blocking out camps. They had an Ember Spirit on Team Spirit. Again, able to play very much together. The big difference is there's no Luna this time. They don't have that tower hitter. So we'll have to watch if Team Spirit can keep the action going and then, you know, potentially make a comeback happen right now, because OG, they're in the lead. But Will they be able to find another pickoff? They do. Soxa goes down.
Yeah, I actually feel great about Team Spirit's game right now. I think that getting Mira to this Blink Dagger without losing too much of their like towers and everything across the map is incredible. Like, I'm really surprised that OG didn't try and push a little bit further. They might have just been a bit hesitant because they couldn't quite get like the best early farm on the heroes they wanted, or maybe they just don't feel that pressure. And they're just happy getting Sumail up to his BKB. That might just be the case. They don't want to make any big risks.
Right.
But I think there was a chance that Team Spirit could be in a much worse spot.
Right, it's interesting, right? Because like there's still that slight lead, but it's not a full item differential yet. That's existing, with the exception of Sumail, and he's the one that's definitely having a very good game done with the Shadow Blade, the Echo Saber, and at this point, just about to get to 2 opponents that BKB. So it'll be something to watch for.
I mean, Thermaltake is going to be in that BKB pretty soon. Nearly has it done. So a lot of pressure on pretty much just Soxa, honestly, to find that big play onto the Ember to get the chain stuns going, see if they can catch before that BKB, but they're going to get the catch onto Seb. Uses the Greaves, though.
Oh, tries to get out, but they're going to commit the chrono for this one, and that's going to turn into a full kill. As Seb goes down, Yadoro finds the finish. So a big ulti committed for that, but they get a core hero.
These kind of games can look very confusing too, because the score, of course, is 2-11. You know, Team Spirit, they got all those kills in the mid lane, and you just look over at OG, and you're just like, well, why do they have like, the gold lead? Like, what's going on here? But just being a little bit more efficient with the map right now. The experience isn't as varied; it's much closer.
We'll have to see if the Team Spirit can suss this out and realize what's going on right now.
The trend continues.
Yeah.
They're going to get objectives if you guys want to get kills.
Comes at a cost. Nothing comes free. But it is still going to be a really strong time with these BKBs done. And actually, Sumail has to go back out, pick up another tree here. Team Spirit have to imagine that something is going on, whether or not they realize that it's Roche or not. But starting to drop down bit by bit. Thompson going to come in and help finish this one off with the TE. Team Spirit not looking to contest at the moment. And with that, Aegis onto the Tiny.
Yeah, with the RP and the curse up. A little bit frightening, but of course they do have some great vision options here between the trains being thrown around. They have their flares. They even used a scan, so OG, slight risk, but calculated to be a benefit in the end, and they were correct.
And look at this, Seb showing on the lane. Team Spirit, they're gonna run right into him. You don't have an Aegis, sir. Hello, hello. The jump forward, want to bring him down. Back wall afterwards, though. The turnaround coming from OG. Able to get the calls pushed back, but Seb already dead. Now Thompson looking for the pullback. Onto that winner. Wyvern going to get the kills. Sumail finds the back line, going to catch Mira and kill off that Lion. Collapse. Has to jump away. Thermaltake goes for the remnant through. TP out afterwards. Do they have anything else left to take? No! Thermaltake able to get away from that one at the last second.
Yeah, only able to get the supports there. So looked, you know, nice attempt trying to just go onto the darks here, but Soxa came through that hook shot right onto the Wyvern and the Mag. Those are like your 2 fight turners, right? So if he can catch those 2, the options quickly dwindle for Team Spirit in that fight when you already know the Chronosphere is going to be down. Like they did a pretty decent job of disengaging there, but it's still going to be a victory in the end here for OGs. They feel comfortable pressuring in with the Aegis on. I say that, of course, they have those big spells.
Oh, and there we go. The winner's curse comes out. Collapse moves in afterwards. Does have a skewer to pull him on back on to Thermaltake. Get knocked out low. Has to run it out of there. Barely left alive. The jump through for another round. Winner Wyvern now dead. Sumail dropping lower and lower rooted. Can they find the finish? Needs one more hit, and they'll finally get him. But now Seb trying to chase down Thermaltake, and the Aegis will be reclaimed as Choro caught. Has Chrono still.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Need to commit it. Has the jump away for the moment, and actually goes in. What? He want to turn this around. Finds Seb now, with Thermaltake having another salvo of spells, and Mira being back alive. They might be able to find the rest of the finish.
Oh, yeah.
Sumail in trouble. Team Spirit are fighting back and trying to take down OG. He gets away again. No, Thermaltake falls. Sumail is too big. And where's the detection? They killed all of it. Oh, wait, is he hunting? Oh my god, does he know?
He's just hoping.
Literally just walking in vision. Oh, but they're not quite going to be able to catch him. God, that was so close.
What a play from Yadoro, going back into that fight with the Chrono, the Time Walk getting off there with the help of the BKB. And they find an even exchange and was looking like just another victory there for OG economically. They will continue to hold the lead right now, and you can only imagine, like, if that Ember had Empower for that last bit of that fight, that would have been so much better for them.
I mean, it turns it around completely here. You can see this winner's curse.
He just got that BKB too.
Yes.
You can see right here in the replay.
So much damage coming out. You can see Sumail wants to stay aggro. You know, he's got this Aegis. Feels like he can fight, but they burn through it.
You can also see, like, even when he comes back on the respawn, they did such a good job of kiting around Sumail. They're trying to focus down all the other heroes on the side of OG, sort of trying to ignore and dodge. Of course, Sumail, you know, he picks up a couple kills in the end, and he lives there because of that, but something that you're going to have to do. And yeah, you can see right there, gets so low, 200 HP. But right back onto Soxa with the chrono, hitting onto 3-2.
Back into
nice.
the game, though. Back into the game. The jump. Avatar's dead. Collapse. Caught. Winner's curse. Onto 2. Oh, but they don't have the chronosphere. But Poshka down low, and Thompson eventually going to burn him down to death. So OG, when they don't have cooldowns on Team Spirit, it's time to party. They make it work. 6,000 gold lead now. Even with the kill advantage, it's OG that are the ones that are pulling ahead.
Oh, Toronto Tokyo, he's made some plays this game. Wants to try and push them off here. Feels pretty safe, you know, having the BKB and whatnot, but not enough to punish onto No-Tail. And now Soxa are coming through. Has the Ags, but both the hookshot and the overclock are both on cooldown. Not able to go for very much here. Of course, Soxa also wants to just keep following. That hookshot's coming back soon.
No-Tail here again. Sumail moves in, and they force the Remnant away.
Soxa's there just throwing out. He's thinking about it. Wants to try and catch him. Maybe before he has a Remnant timeout or something. Now the 5-hero group up now from Team Spirit. They're going to smoke. No vision on this from OG.
Have to be aware of
this is not the hero they want, though. Oh, and look at this. Soxa pops the smoke with the ward in the middle. He goes
shot
in.
Onto both of them. Catches onto the 2, but the skewer out here a limit, but not for long. Absolutely obliterated. Soxa did his job, ends up falling afterwards. Now No-Tail tries to back away. Yadoro chasing, right clicks, has chrono available. The turn. They've got Sumail if they want him.
They have
walk
MP.
forward.
They have curse.
The chase, but they decide they don't want to fight. There was a buyback from that clock. Winner's curse to buy a little bit of extra time. That one tree and force him away, but Thompson able to find one kill. Yadoro backs away again. Without the rest of their lineup, Team Spirit don't want to take this fight. Gotta be careful, Seb. Vacuum back, jump away. And Team Spirit able to dodge that one.
Yeah, not quite close enough to get the overclock and go for some hook shots there. Did cost Soxa a buyback, only one to come back in that fight, but was a eventual slight goal game for Team Spirit. These fights have mostly gone even.
Yeah.
Near the end of this game, but again, still the lead for OG just keeps growing.
Just feels like they get more gold from creeps or something. I don't know, man. It's just, like, how do they do it?
Did it? That was the whole TI secret, it turns out.
How is this happening? They're killing it.
I mean, you can see it, though. Like, they just have heroes, you know, more so on the map that can farm a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah, giving some of the bigger, higher kills.
Oh, pull back. Thompson, this would be a big one. Yule Scepter gets off. Where's the Hex? They have it afterwards. So they'll find a much-needed pick-off by Team Spirit. OG right now still playing the objective gaming route.
Yeah.
All tier 2 towers down.
That's also 45 seconds now where he's not farming towards that Aghanims, which is going to be another little power spike there for Thompson. And so, Team Spirit, you've held on. You know, you did a good job keeping those outer towers out for a relatively long time. You're going to push this to at least that second Roche. But what is the key to really get back into this game? I feel like it's Collapse and Mapochka just not getting caught at the start of these fights.
Yes.
Right? Soxa is constantly hunting for them, looking to get in and just disrupt the easy flow of the team fight that they're hoping for from those. These are supposed to be your, like, point and click winner's curse, easy setup for the single kill, and then of course you want to be lurking on the back as Collapse. And you know, this is a good mag game in the sense that, like, he has heroes that want to go in first, right? He has this Ember, he has this Faceless Void even that he can sort of play around with the RP, but so far Collapse not able to work that same magic that we of course know he has on some of his more preferred heroes.
You can see all the pressure that's being put on. Like, Toronto Tokyo constantly has to keep pushing out this bottom lane, and the tower is at half HP. This is a problem, and No-Tail is the one that's making it a problem. Going afterwards into the freaking Moon Shard.
Yeah, this is
he just
something
gonna give
else
that to
here.
Tiny?
All right, well, if you remember, we'll get to that in a second here. Speaking of Tiny, Sumail, BKB.
Now, Avatos, Toronto, Tokyo, Flame Guard keeping him survivable. Hook shot afterwards, a great one. Catches on to collapse, needs to be careful there. Finger of death out, they have the wall down, also vacuum up to the high ground, calls push to the low ground. And on the other side, Mapochka goes down on the Wyvern. But look at the chrono! Oh, Yadaro finds a great one, but where's the extra damage? Does he have enough on his own? Sep will end up going down. So they find that one kill, the buyback afterwards, has to jump away. Oh, and the Sprout start. RP gets on the boat. Do they have the damage? They need the empower, but it's not quite there. They take down No-Tail, now trying to find Sumail. 7 in the area, they throw the Ion Shell. Still looking for that slow, the chase. Toronto Tokyo on the other side, found another one. Avatos vacuum into no! Sumail! He did it to him!
The tree to finish it, it looked so good. Thompson gives him the tip. 8,000 damage from Sumail. Lifting the team, throwing him on his back, call him Tiny. He's looking pretty big in this one.
Unreal. That's the thing, you chase this Tiny, you think you're gonna get him, he's down so low, almost dead, and in the end, it just wasn't enough. The Avatos combo too strong. Man. See now the fight breaking out afterwards. Toronto Tokyo focused the rest.
How is Soxa actually hooked on onto Collapse and Mapochka though?
Yeah.
It's every single engagement. It's maybe he doesn't get the kill right away, but you can see again Mapochka goes down again without the ulti because of this. Because you create this panic. The Yano did everything he could to try to save this fight, but it couldn't be salvaged. And I swear, wasn't he just dead? No, he saw that stat. I think he's top 3 for deaths or something at TI time. Okay, he's up there around with like Puppy and everything. So, this guy, he likes number 1,
That's true. Gotta get it. Got to get it. As you can see, the damage numbers mounting out.
Right.
Sumail definitely carrying the team in this regard.
No-Tail.
Okay.
He's gonna buy back here.
Interesting. Comes back in. Wants to help them clean this up as quickly as possible, but you can see movement. Hook shot afterwards. Finds on the one, force staff out. Jump bend afterwards. Doing a ton, but these calls again catching on the boat, and they pull them all in. Tries to skewer out. It's not going to be good enough. Soxa dead, and they manage to live through that wall initiation. Now the winner's curse to buy a little bit of extra time. It's the illusion that's keeping it at the full range, but the BKB gets off a little bit too late as Mira. And Mapochka again dead on this Wyvern.
Fast fish.
So, they claim that outpost. Toronto Tokyo thinks about going back in again throughout that remnant, but not going in as Roche 2/3 HP.
That buyback from No-Tail to kick everything off, throws out the ulti instantly, and honestly, the thing I'm saddest about is it's going to slow down that Moonshard gift here.
Yeah, true enough.
But now, Team Spirit, they see a possibility here. They have Chrono, they have RP, they have everything.
He's there to break it again. Slide fist off the mark, but they get the pullback. Horn toss.
Nice horn toss. Good free pick. That's a dieback.
70 seconds. No tail. No tail. Let's try to do something there. Do you like it now? Okay. Mid lane. Thank you.
Is there a rewind? Do we have that production? Can we avoid that? All right. Anyway, we're good. You don't have time walk, that's okay. You have to live with your mistakes. Yadaro,
round 2.
A little luck here.
Jump in, Mira caught again. Thompson finds one. Hook shot onto 2 afterwards. Collapsed on the other side. Does have an opening, but he runs into the cogs. Has to be careful, the overclock was used. Toronto Tokyo tries to back away. Sumail hunting, looking for a pick, but they find Thompson. Mira fought back, right on top of him, finger of death. Oh, but then assimilate, and then the walkway, silence out afterwards. Looking for the chase, do they find him? Sumail misses on that avalanche. The Chrono on the other side finds Seb. Yadaro gets him for the finish. That's no buyback either on him. Soxa caught the winner's curse. Oh, it's gonna take down Thompson. One by one, they're getting pulled apart. Team Spirit working together as a squad and trying to finish it off. Can Sumail do it all on his own? That BKB, it doesn't have a lot of duration left. Winner's curse, another one dead. Sumail is pretty freaking large. Is he really gonna do this all on his own? Team Spirit, are you biting off more than you can chew? The Rock Man is pretty damn strong.
This is a frightening scene that they're running from one.
Oh no, you gotta be careful. Sumail is scary, and he is mad.
All right, still.
I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah, apparently that seems to be the only option left here for Sumail. Heroes and OG falling after that dieback from No-Tail led to an advantageous fight from Team Spirit. Great play from Yadaro. And they sort of just like spread out in that fight, you know? As you can see on the replay.
We gotta keep our eyes on this. Back into the game here. Cogs push back afterwards. They get the Roche. Looking for more. Avatars, remnants away. Toronto Tokyo barely able to get out of that one.
Yeah, but certainly not able to interrupt anything there.
This game has no breaks.
Yeah, we have the Aegis and the Shard there for Sumail. So, oh, did he get gifted it, by the way? Yeah, so he does have the Moon Shard. So now, if you remember, OG, when IO used to have the talent that gave the Aghanim Scepter, they were one of the first teams to do that. Tiny buys the Battle Fury.
Right.
Sorry, the Butterfly strategy. Not a Battle Fury. That would be hype. He would buy a Butterfly, and then by the time IO got the talent, you would just suddenly have Eggs and Butterfly, and it was absolutely ridiculous. So I feel like Notel kind of trying to do a similar thing here.
Right.
Where he's just like, you know, I don't need items. I went this whole game on just regen. I'll just give a Moon Shard to my Tiny.
Exactly, and now look at all this extra net worth that he's got on the Tiny. An extra 60 attack speed, some of that night vision as well. And Sumail, we've seen how strong this Tiny can be. Can he keep doing it for OG here? They're up 7k gold, has an Aegis. And how do you stop him?
That's a great question. I believe it comes from this magical spell called Horn Toss.
That's a pretty good one. Can they do it though? Finger of Death afterwards if they want to use it, bringing him down low and dead once. Round 2 though. Coming back in for this one, Yadaro Paw does have the chrono, gonna connect. They're trying to kill him off, hook shot in. Is it gonna be good enough? BKB out the wall, everything provides Sumail, but will it be enough? The Orphe, they kill him. They take him down, no buyback, and now looking for more. Sep in trouble as they run him down one by one. They actually did it to him. Collapse.
Well, I'll tell you, Tiny, he might be the hero of the tournament, but the spell of the tournament is Horn Toss. This thing, it's so ridiculous. It's like I willed it into existence because that's how easy it gets once you have this available. It's such a crazy tool on your high ground. You think Darkseer is good on the high ground? Mag with this spell is good on the high ground.
An unbelievable series of events. And to do it like this on the TI main stage for this the youngest team at TI, Team Spirit, wanting to go up one game in this series, an elimination series against the two-time TI champions. The Gall. They're absolutely wrecking here. 20-33. It's now down to a 2K gold lead, and more importantly, Team Spirit have an opportunity to try and take down these objectives.
The most impressive part is this is a game that's taken a lot of patience from Team Spirit, waiting to try and capitalize on what OG's up to. And now they're finally crossing the river.
Halfway jinxed it. Is there a problem here? Soxa gonna get ran at, misses on that hook shot to escape, and ends up going down. You can't give them an inch on OG for Team Spirit. We'll have to see if they can keep up this, but of course OG, they've got so much split pushing potential. You see No-Tail pushing up top.
Yeah, OG, a team who are very capable of just shifting gears suddenly. You know, you think you've kind of figured out their game plan, and something new sort of emerges and evolves as they're taking in the game state and adapting to what you're doing. And that's, of course, why they're so hard to beat. So now as Team Spirit, you know, they're trying to adapt, right? They're trying to say, like, okay, now how do we shift from always trying to pull back and then jump on top of OG? How do we become the ones who are actually getting that first jump and making these fights look successful? And, you know, sure, you can do it on your high ground, you can do the horn toss, but you got to find that out in the open map. That's a lot harder to do. It starts with the vision, and they have some great wards down here. Despite losing their Lion, they did get some solid vision, and perhaps that'll be what leads them into some better plays.
No-Tail manages to take that tower down on the bottom side. And a butterfly finish now for the Faceless Void. We also saw the refresher done for Toronto Tokyo on the Ember. So massive amounts of damage.
Oh, Mapochka, he had to cancel his TP because there was a leveler sitting there on the ground.
Oof.
He had to drop the clarity. And can he actually survive?
He blinked off to the right. Nicely played.
Oh, getting the leveler back. The team needed it though, right? Like,
yeah.
They're gonna miss. They try a hook shot. He's out.
What a play from
my God. I mean,
Boschka.
this is a leveler with Empower. You do not want to lose that.
Yeah, you have to get it because they are missing that hero
And
damage.
they
And now
know there's
the
no
smoke
hook
comes
shot.
afterwards. The pullback, they find No-Tail. Gonna turn him in with that impale. Finds the kill.
Stock's he wants it. He's
going for round two.
overclocking.
They're thinking about it. This is a dangerous go with the overclock. I mean, you can see that OG, they want to try and punish this moment where Team Spirit was a little bit separated, but they stuck together and able to dodge the initiation. God, what a
Spirit. Yeah, they're taking a look now. They don't know exactly who's up on that high ground right now.
They do have a ward back behind by the hard camp, but at least for now, Tadaro gonna beat away at the Sumail. Goes for the opening. Ava, toss, jump in afterwards, but the force staff, and they get him dead for 100 seconds. That's their chrono, that's everything. Well, Collapse is still a lot, but he's gonna be forced back again. Goes for the long-range skewer, now looking for more. Mira goes for the Hex, and now trying to go for the TP out, but in the meantime, Tokyo actually picking off these supports bit by bit, but Poshka will go down as well. So it ends up being a 2-for-1 exchange. And Galro is just going to need to be a little bit careful on that initiation from Sumail. Too strong.
I mean, they hit double force staff on the Mag and the Lion, but it's just not enough to get the save there. You don't really expect how much damage is going to come up. That was almost 1,500 magic damage burst just from the Void Spirit throughout that, right? Like, you think it's going to be the tiny, you know, like, no, surely they can't get through like 4,000 HP-ish. But they did rather quickly.
That might be all OG needs. Again,
he's sitting on an Obs and Sentry right now for Sumail.
Wait, Hortos again! They got Sumail. They don't have Chrono afterwards, but they might not need it. Mira continuing to control, looking for another round of this. RP gonna get off the mark and collapse. Falls him back in. What in the hell? Sumail has a Ghost Scepter now inside the Fountain. I don't know if he fought that or not, but Finger of Death out. Usually when OG is in the Fountain, it's good. Not this time, as they pull him back down again. No Tail dies.
Yeah, you want to give him a moonshot, you can go right with them, all right?
Oh,
joined at the hip, joined at death.
Again, the Hex is out from the Lion, and another round, another salvo, and Team Spirit will not be denied as they chase for more. But Poshka right on top of Thompson, tries to jump out of there, buying some good time here. And Collapse finally tries to get him.
Good.
Oh my God, Thompson, what? Is he really
he
gonna get out of here? Nah, they're chasing, they're going, everything for Thompson, but it's not enough.
Don't worry, we got Horn Toss. We're good. All right. Run it back, production. You know what we want.
Yeah.
No one else die, all right? Everyone else just go away. No more fights here. All right, look, watch this force staff. This force staff is so sick. All right, ready? Oh, turnaround RP. Skewer him into the well. Oh, collapse. He can play more than Mars.
Unbelievable. And again, the Ghost Scepter trying to keep him alive, but it's just not enough. And just like that, OG now going to have to stare down a very long time without the rest of their heroes, struggling at this moment. Game number 1, Team Spirit testing the champs, and now trying to take this tier 3 tower.
I love this solution of how to get on the enemy side of the map. Just kill them all.
Yeah.
This is great. You know, wondering how do you kill them outside of your base? Well, if they keep coming to your base, well, you just keep killing them there. OG perhaps sensing that they were obviously much stronger, or they just felt like, you know, maybe we're on a bit of a clock, and they feel like it's just with this single unit, tiny as it's starting to feel like for them, that they don't have enough to take this really late. And it is starting to look that way.
And Roche going to be a long spawn this time around. So Team Spirit gonna have to buy some space and time as No Tail continues the split push. This is incredibly difficult to deal with, and Tokyo, the one that's sent to clean it up each and every moment. A smoke up now from OG.
Yeah, Sumail leading the charge here. Of course, still has that Ghost after he bought in the well. Yeah, might come in handy later with how Collapse is playing. Could find himself there once more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Particularly if he ever gets to that refresher, because you got to imagine he's feeling after that. He's like, you know, I would really love to have 2 of all of those.
Exactly. It's not bad. And again, how many times is it, you know, that, like, thinking about where Sumail was when they were up on that top side, pushing that tier 3 tower, he had Aegis, he had the Moon Shard transferred over, he had all the damage in the world to cleave through those buildings, and it was Collapse. The carry, the real carry, putting the team on the back.
What's crazy is that right now his skewer is at 6.8 second cooldown because he's this Octarine and this Quickening Charm. So it's a very cool solution compared to the refresher, right? Because it's just going to be online far more often, obviously. Working with those big play potentials.
Well, Team Spirit playing around the Roche pit. They know this is where the fight's going to take place. And since it's such a long timer, they might even have to actually go beforehand. And it looks like that's what they're going to do now. So smoke up, but somebody needs to deal with bottom. And OG continue to put this pressure on. They're doing such a good job of forcing Team Spirit's hand.
Yeah, those big treants are just going to clear out that range rat.
And it's dead. It's gone.
And they're going for the next one. Guys, there's creeps there.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Team
Tokyo, he's trying to get there.
This is some veteran stuff right here. make the split push play, force Team Spirit to show.
And of course, you have the advantage of the flare, right? So you're just constantly sending that in. You're going to have treants there too, so it's going to be very difficult for Team Spirit to deny any sort of vision around the Roche pit. Meanwhile, they don't have any of those options. There's no helm on this mag, of course, because Claps has gone for a different build, setting up with the mechanism, so they don't really have a way to just like check the pit for free. Other than just like sending in Toronto Tokyo and hoping he doesn't get vacuumed or something.
It's true. Horn toss. They got him on and Thompson. They pulled him in too. Oh no, not like that. OG now looking for more. Sev got to run away. They buy back on Thompson. Wall down. Yadaro vacuum. Chase. Sumail thought about the rundown, but with the 2 buybacks, Team Spirit will retreat. And with that, Roche will also spawn.
Oh, they're gonna smoke up here too. Of course, they still have everything. That, you know, these are the cheap picks that you get with Horn Toss. Still holding Chrono, still holding RP.
And that combo of like the Horn Toss with the Lion, and they get him again. Pull him back in, bring him on down. Hook shot, try to salvage it. It's not gonna be enough. OG don't have an answer for the mag, and Saksa also gets killed. Unbelievable composure and presence of mind coming.
They
from this
needed
Team
before
Spirit
that
roster.
BKB too, right? I mean, all that damage was magical. He took 382 physical
Got
damage
him
on
again!
Tiny.
What? They find him another time, and the Chrono down. Collapse. The absolute madman. Wow.
He is looking for it right now. The bottom lane, sure, there's still creeps. Toronto Tokyo's gonna go back and deal with it, but oh, he can't believe it. Says Collapse.
As they chase in. That's gonna be melee racks down. Might go for more. I mean, they're dead for forever. The turn now, looking for the tier 4 towers potentially. Our Team Spirit just gonna end this game. There's still Sumail, and he is a big, bad, mad Tiny. There, they get him. Collapse. What can this guy do? Horn toss in. Sumail wants to salvage this, and there's the winner's curse. There's no buyback. There's no help. It's Sumail versus the world, and this time it might be the world that wins as they find the finish. GG called. Team Spirit 1 game away from eliminating OG.
Not only is it a win, but it's the way that they won this game. Sumail's got to do this for us, but Collapse said no.
Collapse indeed did say no. What an impressive performance. And again, I think that this is the type of team that's been gaining speed throughout the tournament. They're a young bunch. I mean, I'm just so impressed. They've looked so magical. What a run so far from Team Spirit. And OG, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, figure out what to do in this game number 2.
Yeah, the composure there from Team Spirit, not even really like popping off too crazily either, I would say. You know, just kind of like, oh, just like chilling, you know. Another day at the office, just getting a win.
Well,
Stretch some legs a little bit here.
I think that, you know, obviously so much on the line. There's got to be so much that's running through these players' heads. But particularly for me, when I think about, like, how you keep a team in it throughout these breaks that they're going to have, like trying to get ready for game number 2. I feel like it's going to come down to Baposhka to really like settle those nerves and make sure that everybody's feeling good going to that game number 2. God, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's also important to consider how that game started, and maybe it wasn't necessarily always going that well for you, right? There were definitely a couple problems in terms of like, okay, we're being stormed. Oh, first couple fights, you know, they went pretty well, but then the map, you know, having a hard time controlling that. You're losing out on net worth, and you're just wondering, like, you know, are they going to get us, guys? Because this Tiny's pretty huge.
It's true. It was that moment to me that I felt like really turned it all around. And again, I'm sure we'll see the highlights for it when we get back to the panel. But the big catch onto Sumail as he was going for the tier 3 towers up on the top side. Horn toss, pull back afterwards. It was absolutely perfect from Collapse. MVP for me for sure. But we'll have to hear what the people on the panel think as we send it to them.
Thank you very much, Trent and Lyrical. And absolutely, it seemed to be like Spirit was saying, oh, you want to come near our base? Oh, would you like to come in? Well, we've got our friend Magnus here, and he's just going to skewer you to the back of our fountain. That seemed to be the late game strategy for Spirit, and it really, they pulled it off, didn't they, Lizard?
It was that invitation to a very boring friend's house, and he just won't let you go. He just keep on pouring coffee for you. He just doesn't let you leave. That's what Magnus did. That's what Collapse did. He said no. Lyrical put it really well at the closing statement. Man, that was insane performance by him.
It was really good, but it was also his team. Like I think of that top racks fight where they skewered him back. They used their resources so efficiently. Skewer back, they hex him before he lands so that he can't BKB. They used Finger of Death, but they saved Chrono. They saved RP until after he respawns. Like that was the crucial fight. And eventually, as time goes on and on, they just get too high in net worth, and Tiny isn't quite the same threat by himself.
But we do need to talk about Sumail's Tiny, because at situations where he's 3v1, he seems to be one of those players who never seems to panic and can actually turn the tide of the fight.
He was 5v1, I think, right? Like there
He
were
was.
5 Team Spirits heroes alive. I think he killed a couple of them. They had to back off. And he really showed the strength of the hero. I feel like that game had everything, though. The cost was even pointing out to me, one of the times where they went on Yatoro in the jungle, he had skipped his 10 talent, he had 1 point in time dilation, and he lived with like only a couple hundred HP. I mean, I don't know the math on it precisely, like maybe the regen or the armor kicked in, but it was really close there. And it's like those small decision making that led to these amazing team fights with the Skewer and the 5v1. I mean, I can't. It's a 5v1.
And when you see Notel playing Nature's Prophet, usually in the past, he doesn't die way too many times, even though he's a 5. But in this game, boy, did he have it rough.
I read that. I think he pulled a bottle to Thompson. I'm not too sure if that's correct, because I was on the bus transiting here. But I also saw that he went for Solar Crest into Moonshard. I think he fed Sumail a Moonshard. And OG's like ideology of the game is so cool to watch because they're all about stacking that net worth. Solar Crest, it used to be this auto buy item. It got nerfed a bit. He's still buying it just above net worth. And he's like, oh, I need to do a bit more. I'm also going to buy a Moonshard for my carry.
I'm just trying to look at my numbers here because I think it was something like 15-6 in terms of Spirit to OG kills. And yet OG was still ahead in net worth. And I was trying to do the math. So I was like, how the hell are they managing to do this when they're dead half the time?
It's tough, but as long as they can keep farming and they don't lose too many heroes every time that they do get those deaths, it's not that big a deal. Because for one team to get a kill, it usually takes at least 2 heroes, sometimes 3, to kill just one guy. So that's 3 heroes that aren't necessarily farming in that exact moment. So as long as the other heroes on OG are still getting stuff done and getting that net worth to pull towards Sumail, it's fine. And there were so many scary moments in the mid game where you could really see Tiny 3v1ing and he slaps like twice and they're like, nah, we just can't do this. It's way too hard to kill him.
It's just a product of how OG play too, right? When they go for these small skirmishes, especially when they have a farm Darkseer, they're playing it so that their heroes can farm. Like if OG are behind, they're like smoke multiple heroes across the map and send someone else somewhere else to farm. It's never like an all-in move.
And it's also the way their whole lineup is distributed when it comes to farm. You have the Tiny that's able to clear all the Ancients, you have Nature's Prophet that's constantly cutting the backlines, and you have Seb with the Iron Shell. It's very easy for them to shove in lanes and get that farm, but it didn't look like it was very easy to transform all the gold that they gained into solid team fights. Seb, multiple times, he just gets chronoed, instantly dies. I didn't really see the contribution. He went for all the items that are purely utility, the Max and whatnot, Greaves, Pipe, but it didn't feel like him and Saxa had the best game.
With that said, though, I think the restriction is that it's about Magnus being on the other team. And I think OG still targeted the bans correctly. They took out Collapse's heroes. They hit Tidehunter and they hit Mars in the first phase. So, like, that's probably his third hero. He hasn't played it much so far, but they got to use that to basically just pull the Tiny out of position. Like, when you get skewered by the tier 4s, like, how are you supposed to win the fight?
I completely agree. You could even see Saxa hooking in after he's being skewered, so he hooks in while the skewer is happening. But it just isn't enough. They kill both of them.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, and I want to comment on Collapse's Magnus because he doesn't play as much as his Mag or Tide. But I think it was Maposhka did an interview and he was asked to describe Collapse in one word, and he said patience. And I really like that about him because I remember I saw him go once on No-Tail's Nature's Prophet, and he wasn't range to Horn Toss, so he took the time to do the Shockwave into Horn Toss, into Skewer. It's just so methodical and like not panic, despite being against OG on the TI stage.
And he kept on finding him
Yeah,
so many times in this game.
I'm really curious to see what OG are going to do with the draft this time around, because we were watching the picks and bans together, myself and Purge here. And it seemed like, okay, right, of course they're going to target Collapse. They're going to take out the Mars straight away. That's obviously the thing you're going to do if you've been watching any of the matches here at TI Den. And they removed the Tidehunter. But then they started to focus on the hero pool of Yatoro after that. But the thing is there any point in doing that? Because Yatoro seems to have one of the largest hero pools of anyone who's playing on that stage at the moment.
I think it's really common if you're the team that's expected to win is you take out comfort heroes against teams that are a little bit fresher, because you're like, a lot of times some of these players come up spamming 1, 2, 3 heroes, and you really punish them in tournaments when you make them play their 4th and 5th best tournaments. So I feel like that draft was like a skill check, basically, to say, like, let's take out your best heroes. Are you still going to play as well? Are you going to crumble under the pressure? And Spirit absolutely didn't that game.
I mean, you can just see that Yatoro was absolutely OP in that match. I also want to draw attention to Tokyo's Ember Spirit as well. I think we're so busy looking at Yatoro popping that Chronosphere and just trapping OG in the base. But you know what, I have to confess, I didn't pay enough attention to what Toronto Tokyo was getting done with the Ember Spirit, because he was absolutely on fire in that match. When you look at the numbers, it looked like a pure carry performance from the mid laner.
So to continue on Aui's very nice point about the patience of collapse, there's a reason.
Sorry.
Yeah,
there we go.
20 to 115. There's a reason why you can be patient on the offlane. It's because your mid lane is just doing all the heavy work. He's poking constantly, he's giving info, he's initiating with sleight of fist chains, and then it's kind of simple for you as a Magnus to realize which target you need to go on, isolate them, horn toss them back into the base.
And absolutely, Spirit's draft were based on that team fight potential. And Purge, you were telling me particularly about the fact that they had clearly planned for those AoE stuns to stack up. So tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the issues with the game going so late is that OG's lineup was did what OG wanted to do, but the fact that they weren't able to just sit tiny in the front and destroy buildings in like 6 hits, that takes away their win condition. So on the Spirit side, they just had so many good teamfight ultimates. They have Chronosphere, they've got Mag RP, they can fish with skewers as well, and they have Winter's Curse as well to like potentially get those solo kills that happen at various points. It's just harder for OG to win teamfights. So as the game went on longer and longer, the teamfights were gonna likely go towards Spirit's advantage. So it was just tough for OG that they got skewered back, because that kind of just like put them on the back foot.
Honestly, though, I'm shocked that OG didn't manage to get a bigger advantage earlier. Like, if you look at their heroes, I saw Seb's Darkseer. It was so high net worth. Whenever you have a Darkseer like that, he should be able to carry the early tempo. I'm not too sure what happened. Like, maybe Team Spirit were just setting up too well for OG and reading all the moves, which is incredibly impressive. But it's honestly not the OG I expect. Like, your Clockwork Darkseer Furion, I feel like the map should be free, especially with the Void Spirit mid.
It was pushed in constantly, and Team Spirit was forced to go back and defend a lot of time in the game. However, it just wasn't good enough. Like, the team fights, like you mentioned, were set up by Team Spirit really well. And I have to say that on the top lane around the tier 1, there was a team fight in which I thought Spirit was completely broken. They're playing this very stable Wyvern with the big ulti. Then you have the Chrono, then you have the RP. But what OG is good at is creating chaos. And they did that. They attacked from all the sides. Nature's Prophet TPing back. But, yep.
Well, our teams are heading on stage again. They are ready to create chaos. You could see Notel backstage. He's having a little groove. Seb is turning to his players and keeping them calm and doing exactly what Seb is known for. But can they take this to a full series? Well, it's OG, and you know what? After you watch this, you'll probably be thinking, yes.
Favorite memory surely has to be my TI 8 and 9 finals. It's a big culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of history, all coming together in a very epic way, in an epic finale. I can only pick one. I will have to go with the TI 8 finals because of the finals, how it went down. That had been a very tough year and everything, and a lot of tough TIs before that, so finally getting it. My body was full of stuff, full of adrenaline, emotions, and I could only really think about the game, and it was like everything was getting channeled towards the game. And then when it's over, or after they GG out, it was crazy. Like, it was a flood, huge flood of a bunch of different emotions. All the hard shit, all the negative stuff, and then all the positive stuff. Kind of like, whew, you kind of break down I broke down for weeks after, where I could only sleep, wake up, eat, sleep. So it's like exhausting, but euphoric, extremely euphoric. Yeah, one of the highlights of my life, if not the highlight.
I defy anyone to watch that back and then not get a little bit teary themselves whenever I see Noto talk about that. And you can see it in his face as well. He's just reliving that moment constantly. It just brings tears to the eyes. Literally, anyone just has to say TI8 to me, and then I just start going. So instead, I'm not going to cry on camera. Don't worry, guys. We're going to save that until Sunday, or when we finally see someone lift the Aegis for the 10th time. And instead, we're going to be talking about what OG should be focusing on in this next draft, because it seems like this could be a last-ditch situation for them. Ari, what do you want to see them doing this time around?
I think they should not give up on their style. Like, honestly, I was on transit here, so I didn't get to see the first part of that game, but I think they need to run at them harder. Like, I think they should double down on what OG does and play their game. I don't think that game was really a result of them. Like, it shouldn't result in them feeling like they have to do a shake-up or anything.
Well, it does look like our teams do want to get straight into this match. That's an interesting one for me because we have seen teams kind of taking their time when they get to the booth. But both of these teams are really keen to get into this fight. And this could be OG's last hurrah at the International 10. So don't miss a moment.
OG versus Team Spirit. Game 2.
Hello and welcome. The draft panel is back. They took my big table away, but they gave me 2 wonderful analysts to compensate. My name's Amo Plus. I'm here with Lacoste and Effie. How are you guys doing? You like that first game, Effie?
That was a great
So you told me earlier that you actually were not one of the analysts that was siding with the OG's draft. Can you explain a bit why?
Yeah, I didn't really get much chance to talk about it, but...
Now you do.
Yeah, so Team Spirit were one of the teams actually playing this Magnus method of just horn toss skewer as an initiation only, and like getting Aether Lens and things like that months ago, right? So it's something that they're super comfortable with, and I believed in it. I didn't quite think that the game would turn the way it did because of certain skewers, but I was very fond of them just for that, right?
I thought coming into this second game, they will address the Magnus issue that they had, but they will go with the same bans. Collapse Mars, collapse Tidehunter, maybe. Let's see if they just first phase this hero. I would not be surprised if they get it for Team Spirit one more time.
Yeah, what do you think they're planning on doing against this Magnus? What would be the traditional Magnus counters we could see here?
I don't know what the counter is to horn toss, as we said, because it's like an instant hook almost that puts you in a tough spot. What they did at the Tier 3 tower when they were defending the base, going for that double skewer, that was just insane. This might be the best Magnus performance I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, not necessarily the 4 or 5 man RPs. It's just his play, his understanding what needs to be done is what won them the game. Like, just the timing, the itemization, where he needs to be on the map. Everything was like 10 out of 10.
He played incredibly well throughout this tournament. He's always been one of the standout players on Spirit, but my goodness did he step it up.
Yeah.
I really have to say. So Magnus counters
There we go.
traditionally, I think there's no reason to never not first phase this hero if it's in the pool, especially after the past couple of days and what we've seen the hero is capable of. But I guess traditionally the way to quote-unquote counter it would be to just not to pressure it in lane and to just respect the skewer. Understand that if you're in base versus Magnus, respect the skewer potential, right? And I think OG have the same approach. They're just going to be a bit more mindful of this hero.
Throughout the Dota history, sieging the high ground was always the hardest part. If you don't have enough tower damage, there's always going to be, like, these repositioning abilities have been high valued. Lately, the toss, the spear, the skewer back. Unfortunately, Pudge, not there. One of my favorite heroes, but maybe we'll yet to see him. It's always tricky going for the high ground because like one misstep, one misplay could make a whole lot of a difference. If the team trusts you, which OG is known for, they are ready to back up the teammates. They go inside the base, results in 4, even a full team wipe.
So exactly the same 2 openers from both teams, which means they're confident in how the game went along and how they're going to approach it. OG just seems like they're going to tweak a couple of things in like the overall macro of the game.
Like what? What would you tweak here in the last draft?
So I think laning went really bad for them last game. So maybe just either be more mindful about it or pick stronger laners, especially if you're going to play against a team fight heavy lineup, right? But the thing is what we highlighted before, you just have to be conscious of this hero's ability to turn the game around when you're in his space. And that's something you kind of forget about if you don't play against a new style of a hero as often, but eventually it does sink into the player's mind.
Do you feel like the last game they had, I mean, the lanes did not go as well as they expected, but the Darkseer Clockwork, right, NP usually considered pretty solid laners.
Yeah, I mean, they have got the job done. These two heroes, Seb was staying at the top of the network, so I think they should be pretty okay with what they've managed to accomplish. But to go back to the previous game with Nature's Prophet, I believe he bottomed the bottle level 1 and also bought a Moonshard later on. So, you know, Sumail asked, you know, or actually, who is it? Notail asked how many buffs do you want, and Sumail answers yes, because he just gave him all of them, you know, going for that Solar Crest, buying the Moonshard later on. It's how Dota was played coming into this TI, all the high-level pubs, is how can I buff up my carry? And one true carry was Tiny, who doesn't rely on cooldowns, can be active early on. When I say early on, I mean like post 10, 12, 13-minute mark when you get your items, when you get the Echo Saber plus Shadow Blade, because you do not want to be as active. You max out your 3-grab, of course, which means that you don't have your combo ready and you're playing for a bit of a later timing.
And if you'll notice something OG tweaked, which is just talking about changing little things here and there, is they banned out the Ember Spirit. So this hero was so potent in the early game last game, in that he rotated so well with the combination of something like Lion, right? And he just got so many kills on side lanes. They were, I think, 14 and 3 at kills, when that's actually not what we expected or predicted on panel. So they put respect on a hero like Ember, who can run into them early and feed off of something like a 5 Nature's Prophet.
So, what are other heroes that can fulfill that role of the Ember Spirit in the mid lane?
Well, typically the other Spirit heroes, something like Puck as well, could be really good, and it's a Toronto Tokyo specialty.
That is a Toronto specialty. Do you think we could see his Invoker coming into play as well?
We could. We could see Invoker from OG as well, because it's a very good hero. When Winter Wyvern uses his heal, then you have a pretty good setup for the combo. It's a great way to counter-initiate against Magnus RP. Even the Skewer back, and also Lion does not like to play into it.
Yep.
So they do pick up Lion again on Team Spirit, so same exact draft, but I suppose we can talk about individual heroes a little bit more now.
Yeah, just repeat what you said the last time.
Yeah, or just talk about Lion and what he offers. Lion in a draft is really nice, just because he kind of fills the role of hard lockdown on your team, but also it stops the possibility, or it lessens the threat of something like a Storm Spirit or a Void Spirit, right? You don't have to be so concerned about it if you can snag it early in your draft.
Oracle Lacoste, you predicted the Invoker.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and I like the Night Stalker as a response to the previous game. Like, they had more of like combo that's playing well during the laning stage and then transitions that into the mid game. This time around, Night Stalker, he completely ruins both Wyvern and Lion. Coming into this tournament, I thought Night Stalker is going to be picked. I might be a bit biased here because I'm a huge fan of the hero. I thought he's just going to be picked every single time.
No, I agree. I thought we'd see the Night Stalker a lot more, and the few times that we did see him, he did his job well. And not only does he make it hard for Lion and Wyvern, because Night Stalker is excellent at controlling these squishy supports in the back line, he can also potentially ruin this Magnus's game, because he pops his ulti, he's got this insane vision. He can see the Magnus setting up for something and just blink silence him, right? He's the type of hero who is so disruptive.
Does this hero fit the OG playstyle as well, of carrying Chaos?
It does, for sure. The laning phase isn't ideal, but he can do so much for his team in this game.
And there's the Spirit hero that you were talking about, Effie. Will Void Spirit be very similar to last game, where he fulfills the role of just the ganker whenever there's no cooldowns?
For sure. I mean, if Ember Spirit's banned, this is the next best thing, because, yeah, sure, you can also go for Storm Spirit, but he's a lot easier to deal with than something like a Void or an Ember, just because he's so easily counterable, right? So we'll see Void filling the role of Ember, not as effectively, because we've seen Ember completely pop off just due to how OP his shard and his ability to like buy BKB with something like a Magnus and just be so effective with only one item.
I like how Spirit players, when I say Spirit, Void Spirit and Ember Spirit players, decided to go for the shards early on. It's extra 200 damage on a Void Spirit, allows you to get extra ring, which means that you can close the gap or get out of much easier. And also, if the game drags out, you get that level 25 talent, the 2-second dissimulate stun. It's insane amount of damage. Also, combine that with his level 20 talent, 14% damage amplification. Makes a lot of sense that people are not just waiting for shard to drop from second Roshan, instead just buying it.
For sure, and I think the strongest Void Spirit build is actually just going for Kaya-Sanj, then Ags, and then Shard. That just seems really potent. But a nice thing about having a Void Spirit is he's a natural Yule's buyer. Like, when you buy Yule's on Ember, it can be good, but it doesn't feel as good as having it on Void Spirit because it's the setup for his Remnant, right? And it gives him mana, which into his main stat and regen, obviously. But the reason why I bring up Yules is because when you're playing Night Stalker, this is an item that you need to have against him. You have to Yules him so your poor little supports can run away. And Magnus isn't going to build it, Wyvern isn't going to build it, and Lion isn't. So Void has a nice little thing he can do for his team here.
Okay. So for the last picks, what pick would you like to see, or what style of pick would you like to see for OG? What are they lacking here, Lacoste?
If it wasn't OG, I would say that Bane would fit pretty nicely, where you can play like position 4 Bane, but knowing OG, they're probably going to go for something more like strength-oriented, team fight-oriented, yeah, and they pick the Earthshaker in the end, so most likely they're going to stick with the roles. Nature's Prophet 5, Tiny position 1, Earthshaker 4, and Night Stalker 3. You want to give this hero farm priority.
And what OG did lack last game was team fight. They didn't have some kind of blink stun. They just had the Clockwork, which can function similarly, but not without being able to counter-initiate the same way that an Earthshaker does. So this rounds out a little bit better. The lanes are just not very strong, unfortunately.
One reason why maybe they decided to go for Earthshaker is to stop the skewer horn toss type of a play, where you use a Fisher from long range to stop that kind of a play, and also Invoker makes a lot of sense with the Tornado. Go ahead, Effie.
Just Echo Slime is a very effective tool in catching Void Spirit, because when you play against Spirit heroes, you need some kind of instant disable to catch them out, and they don't really have that outside of the Blink Night Stalker silence, or the toss.
I want to break my role for a second because this is too exciting. For those people who have not watched Team Spirit all season, Team Spirit was the team that innovated the new way of playing Lifestealer, abusing the Infest with a low HP target and trying to like bait out fights as opposed to using the old Infest bomb. This was the only team I saw actually with success in Lifestealer during this DPC. So this is extremely exciting. If there's a team that you want to see Lifestealer on, it is Team Spirit. But now I want to move it to you, Lacoste, and tell me, what's the strength of this hero in this lineup?
They have no abilities that go through magic immunity, so that's going to be good. You also have a way of saving him with the Wyvern to split up the fight, so looking like a really good Lifestealer game. What OG needs to do is, like, once your rage is down, it's going to become much easier because OG has so much burst potential coming up from Tiny. He doesn't like to play into Night Stalker. If Night Stalker gets the good jump like once we're talking about Blink Dagger timing, so that's going to take 25-30 minutes. Overall, looks like a good Lifestealer game. I'm going to have to side with OG one more time.
Okay. Effie?
I will believe in my Void Spirit. I think this Lifestealer is going to have a nice time on the lane, and I think that if Tokyo manages to carry the early game similarly to what he did last game, we could see.
They did a switcheroo. Night Stalker's going to be played by Saksa.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to see something, I think.
actually, I want to elaborate on that, right? Because it's always, okay, pick the winner. I don't care about that. I want to see what the game plan is for Team Spirit. If you believe in them, what is the win condition here?
So you're just going to have Tokyo playing and trying to kill the side lanes with his supports, similar to last game. You're going to have Collapse empowering Yatoro and Lifestealer, and they're just going to look for the same openings, the same plays, and try to outplay in the team fights. Whereas OG have a more run-at-you style. They want to overwhelm them early on, and they do have the security of having Seb on a Blink Initiator this time. So it's going to be a lot easier to take these fights.
Well, the game is about to begin, and that means that we're going to be passing, to our wonderful casters. It's going to be Trent and Lyrical. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes, we're here. We're on the main stage again for game number 2. OG backs up against the wall. They've been in this situation before, although usually not before the grand finals.
True. Fair point, fair point. Yes, this is a rather early elimination match here for OG. And Sumail, he wants some help here, asking for the crowd's applause.
We'll have to see how this one goes for them. But yeah, the switch up that we're seeing there right at the end, they decide not to go for the position for Earthshaker and instead taking Zotac. And right off the bat, Thompson in some trouble, found, and they give the kill to the man, Toronto Tokyo, that's going to be laning against him. What a start for Team Spirit.
Yeah, some further momentum here, and even a decent obs ward here down from OG, so perhaps feeling a little bit safe in that area. And look, they're going to find it collapse.
30 seconds to
They know.
They definitely seem aware. And immediately get it.
Must have been that obs on the high ground there before we came in, probably spotted it out.
Right.
Got an idea that was happening. So yeah, the panel mentioned at the end there, a little bit of a mix-up here. We're going to have the position for Night Stalker, something that used to be far more common with the previous Aghanim Scepter, where you could essentially get this massive amount of vision for the team, but since that removal, we've seen it not really as often. It's definitely more of just like for the sake of the draft and a flex pick, I would say. I feel like the lane could be rough here. Well, even the start of this game is a little bit rough here for Soxa.
Yadoro chases him down, and with that Arctic Burn slow, forcing back that Night Stalker as he did not start with boots. So off to a hot start for Team Spirit as they are looking to go one game away from moving on, placing much higher in this tournament than potentially a lot of people were expecting from them, and OG certainly on the back foot here. But they're on comfort heroes, a Thompson Invoker, Seb Earthshaker.
They like to be a little underrated too, you know, so
that's true.
That could also help them here, being down one game. They're going to be looking for some early damage in this top lane. Seb starting out with the Enchant Totem. Don't have the benefits of the Aftershock, but he's trying to get as much harass on Yadoro as he can. Trying to start burning through this regen, but there's a lot of regen up here. There are 6 tangos, a salve. Yadoro's got himself a couple tangos and a Fairy Fire too. Already starting out with the stick, which is awesome versus the core shaker, by the way.
You love to see that. It's going to be so much regen consistently given there. And of course, similar situation coming from that Invoker who doesn't end up getting one of those denied. Always frustrating to play against these Quelling Blade heroes. Although we'll get out that Cold Snap, get some good pressure on, pulls back in a little bit, but with the creep wave already passed and next to the tower, won't be any extra harassment there.
Yeah, Lyrical, this isn't a spirit hero.
Yeah.
What is this strange juggler of orbs? The Invoker here, ladies and gentlemen. So, Quaswex Invoker, by far the most common one that you're going to see these days. Likes to get around early on the map with an urn, try and set up some plays. But I would say, largely, at least in my experience of the Invokers at TI so far, falling a little flat on the early rotations, and it feels like they don't actually come online until they really get into that big Aghanim Scepter. Now, with the Philosophy of OG, though, I'm kind of expecting this is almost just like an Alacrity hero right now.
Yes. Given more and more, if possible, to that tiny Sumail and pullback. I'm a little bit shocked, I'm going to be honest, that they gave this to collapse as Mira finds that kill on a No-Tail and
nice
finding another one on the opposite side. 3 quick ones for Team Spirit.
Thank you, production, catching both of those at the same time. Very nice stuff here coming out. So again, yeah, I mean, this was similar to last game. The kills were definitely in favor of Team Spirit, but the economy kept moving forward for OG. But we mentioned that OG, they felt like they kind of stalled out a little in that mid game. Despite having the heroes that seemed like all they want to do was to fight and to kill, but they pushed out the creep waves and they couldn't actually secure those further objectives, particularly the tier 2 line. Tier 2 mid and tier 2 top stood for far too long and really seemed to be the point in which the game became a serious problem for OG. So we'll see if they try and get a little bit more aggressive this game, see if they can combat that, and once they hit those first like round of items all around, just start getting a little wild.
Well, for now at least, it has been a very interesting one. What I was going to mention a second ago is I just can't believe that they gave Collapse Magnus again. A lot of confidence being exuded by OG here to give it back after the performance that he had. And you know, think about that last game. He was making those horn toss plays into the skewer back into like a Yule Scepter, right?
Yeah.
Without a BKB or any of those things. He just made it work and had definitely the standout performance I've seen from him so far.
Well, he's definitely still feeling it down in that bottom lane. He's spraying the Seb down. He's throwing out No-Tail's voice line whenever No-Tail comes around him. So surely in a good mood after a game like that.
Can they pull it together for the second one, though? It's the big question here. Sumail so far on the tiny 19-4 versus the 10-3. And then, of course, we saw Mira getting a good couple of last hits there as well on the line.
Yes.
Zack by the Nature's Prophet. And just quickly up top, it happens.
What do you expect, you know? Your Night Stalker and Shaker into a a Wyvern and a Lifestealer doesn't feel like this is going to go very well for you. I'm sure they're aware of that. Not able to really get any like big pull plays either, you know? Maybe that's going to start happening here soon with the boost being available on Soxa. Soxa just sitting in the well like, do I have to?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go mid.
He comes on back there. And that's just to, I guess, pick up the bounty rune instead. So goes to get that one. Obviously no bottle refill on Thompson. And then we'll try rotating around a bit, make something else happen.
Of course, No-Tail happy about that. Didn't have to buy the bottle, as thank you to our lovely brainstormers at home who told us that he also bought the bottle, which explains why he was so broke in that bottom lane, like literally just regen. So Invoker, not really a bottle hero all too often anymore. So No-Tail can start with the Blightstone and a Magic Stick this time on that Nature's Prophet.
Seb gonna chase back Maposhka a little bit, but hard for him to walk into the creep wave. Look at this, every time he makes that move, he's zoned back by Maposhka. This Winter Wyvern has been really rising in terms of the efficiency that we've seen from a lot of different players, but complete free farm.
Our Night Stalker did go and grab the wave, right?
Yes.
Success, use the boots, brings it back to Seb, and this is the kind of plays they're trying to do to salvage this lane.
0-4 start. Collapse keeps on just spamming out the lanes. No-Tail gonna give as good as he gets.
I find that line from Ava works a lot better once you've actually gotten a kill in the game. It's not as good with the giant goose egg sitting up there next to your hero portraits.
No, you're not wrong, Trent. They get the tornado into the EMP afterwards and a nice silence rotation. This is that power of that Night Stalker, but is it enough? I don't think so. They do burn through all of Toronto Tokyo's mana and will give a lane a little bit of a better time for this Invoker.
Yeah, Thompson doing great here. Ahead of the Void Spirit.
Obviously,
very happy here.
One of the heroes that he's most comfortable on sort of came into prominence on.
Are you suggesting I can get a Meteor Hammer? Is that no, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. We might be a little bit far past that, guys.
So 6 minutes in. So going to summon some more trees and focus back Collapse a bit more there. And you can see that taking over in the mid lane, at least for the moment, is going to be as they go on Collapse and Mira. There's nothing here.
This is such a...
and the thing about it...
bad Night Stalker game, dude. Like,
right. The thing about it, too, is that you're giving so much space from Maposhka to start soaking up levels mid, right? This Winter Wyvern is kind of been left alone, and now you're also walking back home for Toronto Tokyo. So they'll have a pretty farmed Wyvern, most likely. Already 4.5.
Yeah, if he can actually get there. It looks like Thompson is just holding the line.
Yeah.
Saying, no free XP. Get out of here.
So, still steady, slow beat down.
I mean, the best part is that there's no Wyvern up top right now, so Seb feels like he can actually play a little bit more in the wave, right? Looks like 1-2-2 build actually has some decent tools now. Yadro sitting on 10 charges as well, so Seb is free to just cast some spells. Sox is coming back, but it is level 6 on Yadro, so this is a tough kill. No matter how you slice it.
Gets the rage off. Quick fingers. Knew that he was coming. Lifestealer not going to be punished there at all. Already has the Helm of Iron Will too, as well as the chainmails to sitting on 16 armor.
Yeah.
Thompson getting body blocked. Poshka.
They tried to set up on him, but Thompson hit a 2-hero tornado as well, so was able to start backing away, and then even with the jump through of the Astral Step, couldn't get the finish.
So not an easy one at all. The damage that you have right now from OG, it feels like these heroes don't really do that much, right? Like the supports don't have that much damage until Nature's Prophet gets level 6. Invoker's kind of just running unlimited bits as well. It's really all in Sumail, who has to obviously keep farming since he's position
Mid lane,
1.
dropping low here. The silence comes in. Toronto Tokyo able to jump, get sprouted.
Assimilate, gets that little damage buff. Able to back away from it. Maposhka in the meantime has a DD. The Remnant used out, they're actually able to get the bottle refill off that.
Nice defense right there. And now Mira coming in.
Has to be careful. Jump through 1-to-1 with this DD. Toronto Tokyo wants to go to work. Will he be able to get out of there? Assimilate jumps into both. What? He turned onto them instead. They thought they were saving Soxa, but they were just dying themselves.
Oh, they can't believe it. Collapse happily cheering on his allies from the off lane there. It's 6-0 as the supports contributing early here from Team Spirit. Mira Maposhka, a great series so far, and the greed.
Dude, Toronto Tokyo is not one to mess with. This man came here to play on this day.
I mean, he must have been really low there, like 400 HP or something.
Yeah.
Just got blown up, sticking around too long.
7-0 start. This young team, Eastern European, making the most of it. They're going to sneak away that bounty rune. And has the jump away, maybe. Ooh, low on mana. Dissimilate. Has to be careful. Maposhka nearby. They're bringing everybody the echo out, but the cold embrace keeps him alive. The silence afterwards. Thermaltake trying to live, but won't be able to. They bring 4, but that's worth it.
That's 7-1, but still only a 1,000 gold lead right now for Team Spirit. Sure, it's still early, but you look at those last hits and Sumail just towering above there. It's 70 right now, and a lot of those just straight up in the lane. Having a fabulous start. At the very least, did lose a courier, so that's going to slow down his acceleration for a bit.
And in the meantime, you can see Mira being chased away by these treants. Maposhka also in the area, able to sidestep that Tornado EMP combo. And also during this time, we saw the Night Stalker head on over to the Dire Ancients and place away down one of those sentry wards. So it's going to be blocked out continuously. But back towards mid again, the taunt. Zoxa silence wearing low. And Thermaltake not able to find any extra follow-up there. Yeah, Sumail's just been AFK farming, hitting a heck of a lot of creeps. As we see Collapse also getting closer to that mech now.
Nothing phasing Sumail. Allies coming through, enemies, and I'm going to hit some creeps right now. So that part of the mission for OG certainly going well as this lead again just tapers off to pretty much nothing for Team Spirit gold-wise, but surely the comms are feeling really nice for Team Spirit right now. Up 7-1, you know? Just won game 1. Collapse has just been chilling on that off lane. Getting relative, you know, free farm for a Magnus at least. Sometimes you can have a rough time in the lanes, and now has his friends back here supporting him from the tree line.
Pulls in, RP connect, finger of death, done.
That's a stack.
Mira gets the kill, and you can see that even though you have all these last hits onto Sumail, as far as net worth is concerned, they're starting to catch up on the rest of these cores and hopefully get into those first items for Team Spirit. RP down, smoke up, walk for Sumail, stunned right at the start with Yadaro there. He gets the rage off, looking for the chase down. Collapse able to back out and get away.
They still have Curse here.
Oh, have to be careful. Thermaltake showing up. They're going to use the Winner's Curse just to set everything up. The pullback with the Aether Remnant, but the walk forward. Have they bitten off more than they can chew? On the side of Team Spirit, looking for the rundown. The fissure connects onto both of them. The jump through Sumail down so low. Mira, one more hit. It's not enough. They chase him, looking for a follow-up. Zoxa onto Thermaltake. Another cold embrace. They don't have much left in the tank at all. Echo is out afterwards. The Yule Scepter into Collapse then. Thermaltake tries to get out. But do they have anything else left in the tank? Now infesting over to the side. Seb makes the kill happen. Maposhka getting ran down. The Lifestealer infested in and looked for a kill but couldn't find it.
They spent so much trying to bring down Sumail. I can't believe he's actually still around here, not able to get all the way home yet.
Maposhka, cold embrace, now the turn on to Thompson, wanting to finish him off. Run bit by bit with this armlet, getting after it's Tornado. The last second Mira needs to find the kill.
Mira, no.
Just off the skin of his teeth, he gets out of there. And Thompson tries to run, but Collapse moving in from downtown. Can he find the angle? Does he get lucky with it? They can try and chase this, but instead spot Zoxa. Yadaro, the run through, shows himself, and there's gonna be the eventual finish. Just mayhem in the bottom lane.
Well, there's a lot to break down there, and where do we even begin? I mean, the initial attempts on Sumail obviously failing. They spent so much, and I think Team Spirit probably just fortunate not to lose even more, considering how many of their resources they burned there. And oh yeah, we got ourselves a. You know, and also, oh man, Mira at the end there, when Invoker's running up the stairs and he didn't go for the spike because he wanted to give the kill over, and he was holding it. It was sitting there, and then he tried it long range and he missed. Yeah, you're going to regret that one a little bit, I'm sure.
That's painful. A Sunstrike came in there, comboed together with the Nature's Wrath, and a quick pick on to the Lion. Keeping vision with those treants that whole time as well. But still less than 1,000 gold separating these two teams. And the fact that they were able to keep Yadaro alive and has now the Empower going to finish through these Ancients. Maposhka?
Oh, meanwhile on top, yep.
Jumped on. Fissure, Chant Totem, gonna fall. Winter's Curse, maybe a chance. Oh, the Sunstrike caught him right at the end. Well played by Thompson.
eliminating any chance of escape there. They go right back to the tower and take that down. Thompson is pushing out this bottom wave, though. Any chance for a catch? Would be a tough one. Infest first. Oh, nicely done.
Now tries to move in there. And a couple more punches fingered. That Thompson tries to get out with a rage. Will be enough. So oh, wait a minute. Are they going for more now? Thermaltake with the Haster and Tempt and Fate.
Yeah, he's under a ward right now, so has to be careful. Seb very willing to drop an echo on him, I'm sure.
Non-stop action, 16 kills, 14 minutes.
The tree's actually bringing a wave over to Seb.
Yeah.
You know, in case he wants some farm here, that's nice. No-Tail always helping out his allies.
That Blink Dagger being done really opens up Seb's game, but obviously the Force Staff would make it that much better. The defensive abilities against that Lifestealer needs to stay up close and send personal the damage. And Collapse in the meantime, with the mechanism done, gives them some more of this team fight potential, but also wanting to finish off that Blink Dagger.
Yeah, and you saw how scrappy that fight was, right? But now, you look what we got from Thompson. He's gone for that Rod of Atos and the potential fight there later on. So not needing that urn to like just try and go for the cold snap plays, really wants to ensure that you don't have the big playmaking potential. He wants to put some pressure on the itemization of Collapse to actually find that BKB or maybe a dispel of some sort, right? Right. You don't want to give him that same freedom that he just had last game.
It is interesting, though, because it feels like as, well, the Atos comes out, this isn't bad here. Tries to get him in. The mech, though, keeps him alive, and with Maposhka nearby, they really don't have an opening.
Yeah, and the Arctic burn onto Seb, preventing the blink.
Round 2, looking for it. Seb, he has a big one. The Echo comes out, catches on to both, but the Hex is there to turn it in the Winter Skirts. Skewers them both together, tries to find it. RP, and now, do they have enough with the Empower? The big amount of damage coming out onto Seb. It was looking good for a moment, but in the end, it wasn't enough. Do they have anything else left in the tank? The chase down, another great impale onto Sumail, catching him now. They get the Sprout, but they've got him caught in there with them. Yadaro chases, right clicks, dead, done. OG, where you at?
Almost got no-tail there at the end too, but much like game 1, it's these early plays into tier 1 tower that end up felling a couple of OG heroes. They did get the tower in the end thanks to the trusty catapult.
But no, Lifestealer got the deny on it last second.
True.
Well played. And now?
Oh, Thompson.
Going for more. Seb, gotta be careful there. Looking down south. Tried to find an opening there on the no-tail, and they'll get him. Maposhka ends up going down. Again, this absolute chaos there. Mira misses the stun. Seb jumps forward, gets the kill. Team Spirit, gotta be careful with this movement now. Saksa wants to chase this. Another great fissure there, gonna connect the Atos afterwards, but the Yule Sector keeps him alive for the moment. Seb tries to hit the timing, but it's not quite there. And now with the Lifestealer back in front, he finds the kill on a no-tail, and then TP's out right in front of him.
No tools through that one here, of course, if you don't get that initial silence off, especially, right? Like, that's one thing he has to watch for sure versus the Night Stalker. Just make sure he doesn't miss out on that rage TP, but nice play there. Yadar will finish out that S and Y2, so ready to continue the battling and doesn't have to worry as much about scaling better into the late game thanks to the Empower on his squad. And now, well, Agnes, he's feeling personally empowered here with that Blink Dagger.
And you're now starting to see a situation too with why this position for Night Stalker has kind of fallen out of favor, right? Like, you don't have a great farming mechanism, but he needs to get into that Blink Dagger and just doesn't have the gold. Aether Remnant gonna connect, and when you're out farming that far forward, you can get punished.
I do think he plays the... Oh, well.
Atos, Winter's Curse. Turns it around now. Thompson out in no man's land and gets punished as well. Team Spirit constantly right on top of the ball.
You know, the second half of that last game, we had to talk about Collapse a lot. But I will say, I do think that Lion is a fantastic hero versus OG in the way they like to play, right? They love these tricky little plays. They love to tease, to taunt, and to sort of break you with the outskill. But it's really hard to outskill Hex Earth Spike.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little cheeky, a little bit fresh, and then one single stun, you're getting chained all the way to death.
Well, and I think that there's something too about like that horn toss into Earth Spike, right? It allows you to find kills without using RP that you otherwise would have to use that big ultimate for, and then you can save that for the big fights instead. It's just so strong if you can have, you know, a combo that play together as well as Collapse and Mira have been.
Yeah, for sure. And Mira, of course, last game putting a lot of emphasis on getting that Blink Dagger despite being a little bit behind with the map pressure. Mira, again here, just farming up neutrals. Gonna get that Blink Dagger at a pretty decent time, especially with that mid wave coming in through here too. I imagine they'll probably try and offer that over to him. And OG sort of falling into a similar playstyle as last game, where things are just trying to be stacked on Sumail, but this game he's just not nearly at the same pace.
It really feels like there's a, you know, they have to play a little bit more passively, at least until these items come online. And Team Spirit, they're not going to give them that opportunity. They're keeping this pressure on. Smoke up. OG, do they realize what's coming? They're actually going to open up on the Yatoro, but the rest of the team coming in time to try and save their carry. Is it going to be quick enough, though? They jump in! Oh, the RP! But he already died! And now the winner's curse afterwards. Sox in some trouble. Toronto, Tokyo, and they are all in pretty deep at this point. If they can maybe find a couple quick kills, that could be good. Thompson down low dead. Rooted afterwards. Maposhka, Mira, right on top of Sumail. Jump forward, Seb, trying to save this. He's done it so many times to them before, but can they do it again? Sumail walking away ever so slowly, bit by bit, trying to escape, but Mira, he won't let him go. The jump forward, this Lion, and Collapse doing absolutely everything for Team Spirit here. As 4 go down, Seth tries to get away, but will it end up happening? No. The Yule Scepter lift up into the Remnant. Toronto, Tokyo having a coming out party, absolutely owning on this Void Spirit.
Sounds good to say and looks good to watch. Toronto, Tokyo, easy game. Is that a voice line? I don't think that was a voice line.
Wait, what? Oh my God! Observer, press enter and go up. This man just dropped it right in front of him on the main stage of TI, an elimination match. Talk about
he's feeling
a hell of a moment.
Oh, this will be that turning point video if they lose this game, I'll tell you that much. Because
oh my God.
You know, you don't want to give any incentive to OG, but a great start to that fight, dude. That entire fight was without Yatoro because they got the silence right away. And I want to say that Sox, like, it's a very tough game for this position for a Night Stalker. He's doing a fantastic job of playing really well with the ulti because that's his only tool, right? He has to fly in there. He has to get that silence. He's providing the vision for these full team fights. And despite the fight starting so well, they still lose, like, almost everyone.
It's unbelievable. Team Spirit coming in. This team, they were started in the group stages 0-4 and then proceeded to just not lose that many games. They've been winning everything, and you can see here as we continue on.
Almost everyone,
Tokyo.
I mean everyone, as you can obviously see from
there
the top
it
of
is.
the screen. Replays exposing. Gleipnir now done. That's like, did you just do that? Did you just type that in there? Oh my.
That was the moment for the Kyle chat wheel. You talking to me? You talking to me? Didn't do it.
True,
Didn't hear it.
True, after all that. Well, the chat wheels file a little silent sometimes.
Still less than 1,000 gold leads separating these two teams, 10-22. And Team Spirit, the ones in command.
Toronto, Tokyo jumping in.
Certainly not out of it. Walks in, finds Thompson. Seb tries to salvage it. 4-step out, not enough. Now looking towards No Tail. They're going to pull in this Nature's Prophet. Just running them ragged on OG. Team Spirit won't be denied.
They're just making these picks look so easy. 100-0. They're falling. And that sucks. So this is with the ulti under the obs, though.
Another round of it. They just keep dying, one after the other. Team Spirit claiming those kills.
And Toronto, Tokyo moving under an obs here from Seb. I don't think he's going to try and go for anything too crazy. Knows that this Void Spirit's there, but some quick math, 2,000 damage, level 14 Shaker. Maybe with the Prophet, he's got a chance with the Invoker here, too. I think they're going to try it. Let's see. And we'll see what's set here, of course.
Looking to try and get something. And Toronto, Tokyo, recognizing the danger, backs off. He knew. And in the meantime, you look at this. Team Spirit going to try and claim the Aegis.
Oh, the instant, the Sunstrike, and then the TB right away from Thompson. He wants to be here. Doesn't want this one going for free. Tornado now.
Starting the fight off. Obviously has the rage afterwards, but Roche down. Aegis claimed.
Not lucky
dropping
enough
low.
to get the damage there from the meatball either.
Right.
Yeah, maybe just hoping he could force a snatch.
Team Spirit gonna smoke.
Try and get the bounty for OG.
Fested Lifestealer inside Collapse. Doesn't have the shard yet.
Oh, and Collapse this time too, eh? Yeah, Thermaltake, of course, setting up for the easy one last time onto Thompson.
Follow the couriers. They're gonna take you to the heroes.
Oh, I love that.
Right on down the way. No tail is there, but they jump and find the back line. Able to catch onto Sumail. That's a pretty good target. Hex afterwards. Yadaro eaten up this Tiny as Sumail eventually falls.
Oh, and they were so close to just running into no tail too. That could have been so much better for OG if he was the one to fall, but grabbing the king instead. He has fallen and now collapsed. Well, they might just find no tail anyway.
Even gonna drop the RP
This is for the laning stage. This is from all the voice lines and the sprays.
Team Spirit putting on a performance here. Showing everything. And did he find him again? Collapse front into Zap.
Screen. Zap.
What? Just like that. They find themselves Zap trying to give him a high five. And find the kill again.
I think he was changing his chat wheel binds. He got caught in the trees there. Snagged by Team Spirit, just finding everything right now. And now able to pressure with this Aegis. Still 3.5 minutes left for Staff, for Collapse. Now we just gotta wait for that shard to come out and he'll be back in full force once more here.
Look at this. I mean, this is the thing. You know, you start the laning stage off even, but kill after kill after kill, and off the back of Collapse, this mag that OG gave to them in game number 2, they felt like they had an answer, and so far it hasn't looked like it.
All right, there are no doubt incredible tools in these team fights for both teams, though. We have a total of 5 Blink Daggers on the map now.
Yes.
So everyone's, you know, lots of opportunities to make your play here from both squads. Most importantly, Soxa, I think, able to be more valuable in these team fights by trying to get that silence and getting right on top of Yadaro.
This could be incredibly important for them. And they need Sumail there too. Like they really don't have the damage otherwise.
Yeah, and I mean, there is the Force Staff as well from Collapse, as we mentioned, so that's a great counter to Soxa, just because he just needs that little smidge of I'm not silenced, right? For Yadaro, and he can get the rage off.
Gonna walk in. They can start heading down bottom to pressure this tier 2 tower.
I love the use of this Aegis, just closing in on the map. They're using this gem. They're moving through, looking for every bit of vision, every sentry, every obs. Just taking them down one by one. Team Spirit want to take away the map from OG. But you gotta imagine they're feeling I would think a little nervous, starting to shake a little. Like it feels like you're doing so well, right? This is OG elimination.
That's true. Do you start to feel the nerves? Do you start to feel the wind come in their direction? Can they keep up the momentum?
You question yourself more when you're winning.
Right.
When you're losing, you're looking for solutions because you have a problem. You see the issue. In a game like this, like you're ahead and you're just trying to keep that momentum going forward. You're scared a little bit sometimes in terms of like what can they do to come back.
All right, and we've seen OG come back from bigger deficits than this before, even in the grand finals. They've got heroes that can make the plays. Will it happen though? Looks for the silence, not gonna get him. Toronto Tokyo playing that one safe, and down bottom, they got a Lifestealer that OG need to deal with. Throws out that tornado, gets the lift up, the pullback. Skewer, catch, Thompson in trouble. On the other side, they're also battling it out with Seb. The chase is there, and Thompson going to fall. Mirror jumps in, gets the finger of death finish. Collapse off to the side. Maposhka not going to be found. They get the skewer, or rather the shockwave into the kill, and they force out that buyback. No-Tail's going to pressure top.
Yeah, he's got no other choice. Just going up there. Gonna perhaps send in some treants here.
Fissure, the only thing that can slow down this Lifestealer right now. Will get hit by that tornado now afterwards. But again, that pressure, it's going to be mounted top. We've seen this before where Nature's Prophet can force back heroes, but will they happen now?
They're so weak in comparison though right now. Like
it's true.
He's got the solar cracks, he's got a couple of the big ones, but I mean there's Yadaro just hitting your base. 30 seconds still left here.
Yeah, and they still have Glyph available on Team Spirit if they need to use it. Yadaro hits it, range racks down, takes the first, backs away with the team.
Dire's structures are fortified.
God, what a match. What a series. Team Spirit came out here punching the champs in the mouth.
I will say he got more damage down than I expected.
Yeah.
He's sending them back in and no one's TPing. They don't want to break the formation. So they're just going to sack the tier 3. Now tier 3 is not as valuable as they used to be, but look, the fight's happening. This is why they don't want to break it up.
Catches there. Stun afterwards. Pull back in. Dead. Done. Looking for more.
He blinked in.
Collapse. This guy's a little bit crazy. Tops and Sumail looking for an opening there. They spot one. Avalanche walk forward. Mech, but the save is out. And now Sumail BKB'd. It's going to wear off soon. Has to back out of there as Yadro chases the winner's curse. It's going to connect. And afterwards, Soxa, he just has to disrupt it, but no, he can't get there in time. The jump in. Stab tries to salvage it. Isn't enough. The Evil Scepter lift up. Mira goes down, but they pull him back in for more. Yadro too strong on this life stealer. 3 dead, no buyback. Is this going to be the end for OG? As Soxa also to fall. Everybody's gone. And look at this Team Spirit going in for more. Oh, Yadro, are you tempted fate? Are you thinking about going into the fountain? They regain some focus, but with no buybacks, can they just try and end it?
It's tempting. There's the other lanes.
This is, could this be the downfall? Team Spirit, they can sense an end right now. A chance to move forward, get top 6 in this tournament, and you've got 25 seconds with no Sumail.
They're not hesitating.
Trying to end this one. Team Spirit looking to go all together. There are racks that are being taken up on the top side of the map, but they've got their eyes on the prize. They want to sage it, the Sprout. They'll walk inside of it. Oh my god, he's just going for the spider legs through. They get the vision. Oh gee, there's nobody left alive. It's only no tail. There's nothing left, and GG is called. Team Spirit end the game, taking down OG. What a Cinderella story here on the main stage.
Absolutely incredible Team Spirit. And look at them, they're cold. There's just cold stone in there. They just knocked out the champs.
Unreal. From going 0-4 at the beginning of groups to now getting top 6 for this young squad. What a magical, magical journey for them. And OG, it just wasn't meant to be this year.
And it's just early, of course, for Team Spirit. It's important that they're not getting too excited because they still got games later today.
You're not wrong.
Staying alive here in that lower bracket. Going to be facing off later this evening as well. And I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't expect them to be there.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, you play now, and you've got Eastern Europe playing Eastern Europe in the next round for a potential top 4 finish at the very least. And Team Spirit, an incredibly impressive performance, coming in as one of the dark horses in this tournament. They made it work here in this game number 2, and like you said, absolutely stone cold walking out of the booth. Toronto Tokyo throwing out that easy game in the midst of it as well. He was one of the standout performances for sure.
Yeah, he really was. And of course, OG, you know, a team that maybe not the highest expectations coming in just because of like how the season works and everything, but everyone knows that they're a threat. There's no doubt, right? You know how they can perform in pretty much any situation. And with bringing in Sumail, that wasn't going to lower their pedigree whatsoever here. So we will say goodbye to our champions.
Just like that, we'll head on back to the panel.
Well, it's certainly an unusual sight to see OG walking away at such an early stage in this tournament. I'm sure they're going to have a regroup, but my word, Team Spirit. Let us remind you that they have the youngest player at TI in their team in Yatoro, and what a performance he's pulled off. A 19-year-old collapse, clearly the anchor of this team. This is absolutely phenomenal just to see them come here and to completely defy expectations and to do it against OG Lizard.
It's incredible. Something just clicked after the group stage for this young team full of pub stars, and they're having fun. The game versus OG, it looked like they were just enjoying themselves, all chatting a little bit. But in any case, collapse on that Magnus 2 games in a row, switching up the item build a little bit, but looking insanely strong.
And I don't think it was just him as well. Their whole team played fantastic. I feel like they had a bit of a draft advantage. They had what they wanted to beat OG. Those early skirmishes, even something as simple as a cold embrace, buys them like 2 to 3 seconds of time, which is effective against Earthshaker as well. A big part of his damage is that enchant totem hit. And if it forces them to overdive for that extra 2 seconds, buys them time to turn it around. So I think those early dives and fights from OG were shut down partially because of that Winter Wyvern. It was actually really key to their win.
A very good pickup, right?
Yeah,
it was in PSG LGD as well.
Yeah, I think Winter Wyvern has been sort of like a hidden sleeper pick because I think she was like 90% win rate in groups, so people weren't picking her a lot as well. I think Team Spirit just how they're ready for OG's moves was really impressive because they're such a young team, but they seem so composed, so calm, so
jump boost
ready
we get.
to actually take the right fight, take the right engagement. Like usually when I see OG goes for those wraps on the tier 1 mid, they're overwhelming their opponent. But Team Spirit, they're all there and ready, and they just wiped them.
Like the thing,
Well, it
मैं
seems
OG
weird
का इतना बड़ा
to
fan
be
हूँ.
saying this
Like
right
मैं
now,
OG का
but
fan
we
TI
do
8 से
have an
पहले
exit
था.
interview with OG, and
Like
although
Notel
it's
का
on the
carry.
sidelines with Seb.
Notel का carry निकल गया DI 8 पे. And Seb आया.
I can
Seb
definitely
उस
hear
time
that
पे
they're on the
off lane में
sidelines
इतना
together, but I
ताबड़तोड़
believe
खेला
that
कि
they're
off
actually
lane को पहले
just
as a
getting
support
ready
ही माना
again.
जाता था.
We're not used to this situation here at
Bye bye,
Versus,
मजा आया.
certainly not
हाँ.
used to this situation
जाओ,
anymore,
yes.
but I'm sure that interview is
तो
going to
Seb
be well
Seb like
worth
Seb
the
ने इतना
wait.
अच्छा खेला off lane
As
में
you
इतना
guys were
ताबड़तोड़
saying,
खेला
an absolute
कि
team
off
effort
lane को भी
from
like
Spirit.
literally बाद
And
में
the
as a
draft
core
from
count
OG
करने
just
लगे. उससे
wasn't
पहले core
good
count
enough.
नहीं
But
होता था
that's
off
the
laner.
strange thing. I
Core
thought that the OG
mid laner and safe
they
laner
are
ही
the
core count
master
होते थे.
drafters, and I'm not sure what's going on.
It felt stubborn to me. It was kind of a repeat of the first game draft-wise.
Pretty
Both
much,
teams
yeah.
were like, oh, we're
And
confident with our openers.
हम क्या
I
देखते
would
हैं
say
इधर?
from the Spirit side, their
Save
draft improved
support,
a little bit. Their
top
mid
sun
player,
support,
was
Notel
a hero
support,
that buys,
Saska support.
the
चार
Spirit's
support
ulti,
लेके खेल रहे हैं OG.
percentage-based damage item, very effective against Tiny. That was one of the things they had trouble with in the first game. So that gave them an even better advantage.
अबे
than they had
माना
in
कि
the
सुमेल
previous
अच्छा
one.
player है,
And
but
who's their
भगवान
other
थोड़ी ना है.
hero? It was. Don't remember. The carry also percentage-based
Like
damage.
चार
was good
support game
against Tiny.
खेलेंगे हाँ.
And so it just felt like they had a better draft against what OG played than the first one, and from my perspective.
Like
Do you
जितनी
also
बार
think that Spirit
ये
are going,
अक्षय
well,
का pick हुआ एक बार भी नहीं जीता team
so
OG.
because we are coming into this situation
Off laner
knowing
अच्छे
that
का.
we're just going to practice doing it better.
I really want to be
Go ahead, decide them.
hyping up Spirit for as much as possible. I wasn't impressed with OG's draft in this second game, but they're OG. They always have a plan. Sometimes it doesn't work. This was sadly for them one of those times. We've seen that through the group stages and the
Like
main
Notel के
event,
पास
the hoodwink
Blimper है.
didn't work out on the mid lane.
Notel
If
को
they
top
do
sun.
get all the pieces right, they dominate. If they don't and they have a Night Stalker
Safe
that's
four star
slowest
बनाता है.
network 10 and position
Off
4,
laner 4-star blink लगा और
it gets a little bit trickier.
eternals
But
लेके
it
घूम
seemed
रहा
like
है.
also the
ये है
focus
हमारे
was
off
off.
laner.
Like there was one moment when Seb was in the trees, maybe he was shopping, maybe he was checking his map or something, but it was just like I mean, it wasn't even a gank, really.
I feel like when your draft is off, sometimes you'll make mistakes because you're trying to figure out how to win the game. Like, it's very confusing for OG. Like, for me, I think Night Stalker should have been 5, Fearon should have been off lane. And it would have been a lot
Like
easier
मैं
to
अगर
play
OG
the
का
game.
match सारे match
But
का
Dota's
निकालूँ ना,
weird like that. Like,
जितनी
you
बार ये
play so
Seb
many
ने
hours
अक्षय
into
का
the
उठाया
game, you
हर
put
बार
so
हारा
much of
है.
your time into it. The smallest thing being off can make it so that
Tournament.
you're not able to play your normal game. Like people, a lot of pros, they always say, I want to play as if it's a pub because you
ये
feel so
OG का
comfortable.
ये
You
match
know what's
था.
going to happen. It feels so natural.
ये last match.
If you're thrown off, this is sort of what happens.
Is it fair to
Manja
say that
detail.
Spirit were playing like a pub?
I mean, no, I don't. I mean, they're
I'm
playing
not saying you
comfortable,
are.
right?
It's
They're
just that we
playing
keep
comfortable.
referring to
Yeah.
them as pub stars, and they're top 6 of the international. And I just
Vishnu
want
Guru के
to,
खिलाफ
I
Seb
guess,
ने
put
उठाया
some
था.
respect on their name, just because when we talk about
पहले
pub
match पे तो
stars,
Seb ने ये नहीं उठाया था.
yeah, listen, it's no surprise. I come from Counter-Strike. If we talk about pubbers, we're not necessarily talking in a positive light. So I just want to
दूसरे
just
match
double
पे.
check. Now I've come into your space, that we are
Yeah.
giving them the credit that is due.
I would say calling somebody like a pub star is not really as negative in Dota because it's like that means you're
दूसरे
like
match में अच्छे कर
insanely
उठाया था
good. If
इसलिए
you're a
हाथ
pub
पैर
star,
से
you're
जीता
beating
है.
pros in pubs. I think the problem that usually translates is you need a captain, and maybe in
भाई
this
यहाँ पे
case this
अच्छे
is an
का
advantage.
build को
You
फिर
get
भी
this
सही है.
experienced captain in Maposhka who can make sure
Like
that they're
bring
playing the
back
right heroes for the
BKB,
game, and then
lot
you
of
can kind of like
etc.
corral them. So still let them
But
play their
यहाँ
pub,
पे मतलब
but
इस
also
game
make
में
sure you're checking those boxes
5
for
4
how to
man support
compete against
खेलोगे
other
तो
teams
ऐसा
that
ही
are
होगा.
organizing as a cohesive unit.
So making the most of that raw talent and then making magic on the stage.
Exactly.
Perfect. Well,
Like this game is like
standing
4
by
man
right
support.
now, we do have
Team OG
Avo
4
with
support
Seb,
लेके खेलते
so
हैं.
let's
Like
hear
Team OG
some
का
final
plan था
words
like
from Team
TI8
OG.
में कि भाई हम लोग 4 कॉल लेके
Thank you,
खेलते हैं.
Frankie. I am here
अभी 4
with
support लेके
Seb.
खेल.
Thank you for your time, Seb. I wanted to ask you
Yeah,
just your
sure.
thoughts on the last game.
I mean, it was a good game, hopefully for people to watch. I think Team Spirit played a very good game and they deserved the win, and I wish them best of luck further. As for us, I mean, we did a lot of right things in terms of preparing, in terms of keeping a good mood, you know, and fighting as much as we could. I don't think we let the toughness of the game affect us, but definitely the Dota was not good
मैं
enough.
कुत्ते की तरह मार खाए हो.
Yeah, to win this game, and I think you have to
उसने
also
सामने
accept
से
that.
लिखा easy game. मिडिल ऑफ द गेम में.
OG always talks about being a family. What does family do in moments like these? How do you recover?
I mean, we are still in family. We always will be through wins and losses. What family does is support each other, of course, for those who need support, and also give each other space. Just, you know, like, be loving and caring. This is a big deal for everyone. It's a big deal to lose, in the sense that so much effort put into it. So yeah, we're there for each other. At the same time, you know, losing is part of competition. We've been on the winning side, and we celebrated that, and we were grateful for that. I think the wins don't taste nearly as good if it wasn't for the losses. And I think that, you know, losing is really rough. It feels really rough. We feel all very down, and but you have to stay strong through these times, and you have to learn. And there's gonna be time for that. Everybody needs, you know, have different ways to process everything. What I do want to say is I want to thank everybody that supported us and followed us. What is really special about OG and about OG fans and just the community, like, around OG, is that there is support. We feel the support through, you know, the highs and through the lows. Today is a low, but as I said, there wouldn't be any high without lows. So we appreciate that, and we are very thankful and grateful for the support that we get. And yeah, this is something that's much bigger than the tournaments.
Well, you heard it. Celebrate the highs, accept the lows. OG's run at TI10 ends here, but OG will continue to exist, and there are going to be much more highs for this team, right?
Of course, OG will continue to exist. We will see what the future is made of. I want to also give a special props to everybody, like my teammates, everybody around us. I know everybody gave it really their best. They did everything with their hearts and all the, you know, the love and the talent that they're capable of. It wasn't enough today, but it is what it is.
Back to you, Frankie.